start recording. Just so that
if you stop complaining about it, you can have tea with it next time.
Oh God, no. I'm desperate too.
Oh God.
What is this thing?
It's we're focused. We're ready to go. It's super good.
Yes. That is what we are.
I suppose for the audio for the episode as it goes up onto YouTube, my name is Steve. I am the Game Mommy. I am joined by our wonderful players here. We're doing an audio only session. We are absent Jack and Nhudrel. I will be filling in for Nhudrel's like actions and everything like that. But that's the explainer. Okay, now we can go back to not focusing on like content generative narrative here, and cool. Be normal human beings, on it. I started an offline game literally like a couple weeks ago, when we did our session 0, and I didn't know how to begin the session because I'm so used to being like, okay, everyone, we're going live in like a minute and everything, and then like doing that stuff, and that's the sort of like like rapping on the chalkboard, sort of like, okay, pay attention to teacher's about to start class. And I didn't know, I'm like, I guess we just start, like, I didn't do like a, like, it felt weird to be like, hi, I'm me, and these are all the players, and let's do introductions, because I'm so used to just like online streamy games. It's weird. It's weird how the pandemic changed the entirety of how I played tabletop. But nonetheless, welcome back. We're here with our Fang, Yuri, and Hicks in the mix. Last session, which was a little bit ago, but last session, everything was super chill. There was a combat. You went into some statue's mouth, and ended a possible multi-planar impacting weapon, and there are no consequences from that. There was no giant statue titan raising out of the ground, no escaping former lich head of the necromancer tower of the synod. None of that happened, of course. You all but yeah, you all got into combat. It was pretty emotional. Fang had to terminate the life of a tribes member. Yeah, that happened.
What about that?
That was very emotional. that was a
fucking terminate. So
I don't have a lot of good euphemisms for putting someone down, but that's what had to happen.
I just imagine Fang with a gun now, just clocking them in the back of the head.
Like you give that choice in about Moonfeather.
Yeah, no. Do you know what I was thinking of? Of Mice and Men.
That's exactly where my brain went. Like Mice and Men.
Of Mice and Men. Is it who's the one that gets shot in one?
Lenny is the one who gets shot. Spoilers? George is the one who shoots him.
Oh yeah, Lenny. Oh, that's quite funny.
Thank you.
Sorry, Fang.
But yeah,
your traumatic death is now a comedy.
Is now Fang.
Oh, that movie is not a comedy. I can tell you that.
No, Fang had to part ways with Stone in a very permanent fashion, and it was extremely emotionally fraught, as you all fought different sorts of devils that Stone had summoned with them to prevent you from stopping the weapon, maybe engaging with the weapon themselves. There wasn't really time to discuss those details. Yuri had managed to tuck himself into the actual chamber with the channeling device, and along with the help of the illusionist for dealing with, the kind of overwhelming magic and everything, was in a situation where they had to kind of connect, understand, and disable the device so that it could be destroyed. Everyone then ran out, and rather than destroy it, rather than just like disable it, I believe there was a reverse polarity sort of move of like, let's put this, let's channel all this energy it's meant to absorb as kind of like a battery and reverse the flow of it, which effectively destroyed and disabled the device very permanently. And Yuri and Hicks and Fang and Myron, the current head of the Necromancer, and Nhudrel all found themselves running back out of the crypt, trying to escape. They got back to the actual necromantic tower, and the skeletons and necromancer interns, students, administrators, all were staring at the center of the octagonal space that these 8 towers, these 8 schools of magic, had as the titan whose mouth that you entered, the stone massive creature, managed to climb further up and burst and emerge from the surface, reaching up to the sky, but then settled down again. But at the same time, the former lich that you had met, that used to be the head of the necromantic tower, had also managed to escape. Not without the attempt to at least warn Myron to, make sure those wards were good, but that was where we last left off. So let's pick up from there. The 4 of you are all sitting on, are all just outside the Tower of Necromancy, alongside Myron and some of the skeletons and people. And then you can see at the bases of every other tower, there are some people that have wandered outside to see this change in the landscape here in the Synod and the Crest Arcana, as the a massive statue now lives in the center, sort of reaching up to the sky. The storm has cleared. The tear in the sky, knitting itself back together and clearing itself. The absence of the Unseelie Queen's presence, most notable probably instantly to Yuri, but now just scattered clouds, a little bit of natural graying sky moving back to blue, the sun beginning to peek back out between them. It's not a bright day, but it's not supernaturally pummeling the capital city just to the south of you, and its massive sprawl with lightning. You can still see the fires. There's still smoke coming off of that. That damage will last for some time, but it's no longer being further encouraged. The statue in the center outshines, outstretches these towers. These towers, most of them are about 100 feet or so tall, give or take, 20 or so feet each. They're all roughly exactly the same. The statue itself, its arm reaches out, like the top of its head, and its arm reaches out kind of above that. You imagine this thing might be, I don't know, standing a couple hundred feet or so tall. 150 to 200 feet or so tall, but it is still partially submerged in the earth. It's no longer moving. You're not getting any sense of magical energies or living entity coming off of it. Whatever happened, whatever magic was infused to it, it seems to have burst. Perhaps this channeling device might have been an engine for something this size, or maybe something different, but who's to know, because it's done. But yeah, the 3 of you are standing there after escaping the crypt and back to the necromancy towers, or the 4 of you, I should say. Myron's outside and everything like that. What do you do?
Did you say it was morning? What time of day did you say it was? Just out of
daytime.
curiosity. Okay,
I'd
so
say like middle day.
Midday kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sun up sometime amorphously between like 11 and 2 kind of thing. Afternoon times.
So the people are standing at the bottom of the towers, like coming out.
Yeah. Much like your tower, or the necromancy tower. Most of the towers have like administrators and stuff, and some other people dressed. Obviously, you see the tower next to you, the most clearly, right? but you could see that there's kind of people coming out to watch this, and maybe in a couple of the towers, if you were to look up in like the windows, you'd see people watching it. Because giant statue comes out
Okay.
of the center of the
Yeah.
landscape. They're gonna look.
I guess Hicks will probably just look over at Mayron. Oh, everyone else. And Mayron. And just say, we still need these artifacts, these cursed artifacts looked at. But we cannot stay here very long. I think we're going to gather
Yeah.
the wrong type of attention. We need to get out of here.
Yes, we do need to. And Myron kind of glances over at Yuri very quickly. We do need to probably get you out of here pretty quickly. Let's go back
Yuri,
inside.
nodding while just sat on the floor looking drunk because he is on 1 HP dying.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. You all are not
When
doing.
Hicks picks him up by the scruff. Let's go, kid.
Yeah. Let's go back inside the
Okay.
tower. I'm going to make sure that nobody that we don't want to come in comes in. And everything. I'll do the uncursed, and then we'll get you on your way. How's that sound? Okay. Come on, come along. And Nhudrel follows. How is Fang doing? Because you had your a very emotionally wrought moment, Fang, but then you had the adrenaline of we need to get the fuck out. I believe you were carrying.
Fang is carrying Stone. She did not exit the tower.
Oh yeah, so you've been inside.
She's still tucked away in the tower.
So yeah,
she didn't bother looking outside.
So what is Fang looking like now in the tower with Stone?
Pretty much like cradled. She has Stone cradled, wrapped up in her cloak. And she's just kind of sat on the ground, holding Stone close to her and cradling her like a looks like a baby, but and just nuzzling against her head and saying like a very quiet prayer in their natural dialect, and she's just kind of in that moment with Stone.
Okay, so pretty elsewise, distracted and not attending to the thing. Nhudrel's sort of hovering or helicoptering, sort of like orbiting thing, but and like making his presence known, but not making his presence
known.
Like not making his presence a focal point, if you will. Just but yeah, so Hicks, Myron kind of clears off a table, has some skeletons remove the inevitable candlesticks, and the goth aesthetic of various goblets and skulls and shit that's on the table. It's like and there's this large, almost like large kind of like shy of dinner but too large to be, or shy of banquet but too large to be called a dinner table, just like massive wide table. And it's like, all right, we can do the uncursing here, and he kind of gestures at some of the skeletons. Get my tonics and holy waters and the kinds of things that I would need to uncurse things, depending on various things. And he just sort of and so the skeletons all rush. Where are the items that I need to be cleansing of their nefarious natures? And I'll just remind you that canonically, Myron is just like a tiny halfling ghostwise guy that looks a lot like Raul Julia from the Addams Family. Canonically.
Hicks would kind of like, he'd step up to the table at the when Myron asks, where are these things, and he'd just reach, I don't know, into his magical backpack thing, and then he'd bring out the orb, or Pokeball as we like to call it, and then just say, step back, I don't know what this will do. If it, I don't know, touches you, you might get sucked into. And without like really waiting for anyone to like actually move, he's going to go over like the runic symbols, but he's holding like the ball over the table so that the stuff will spill onto the table. And I guess it just kind of comes out in like that black, misty stuff.
Yeah, it kind of apparates out of the kind of black, smoky. It's not smoke, like it doesn't have the you know, it wouldn't make you cough to breathe it, but it has the aesthetic of smoke.
Yeah. Whatever the fuck it is, smoky
and then
stuff.
it coalesces into the physical objects. There's several objects in there. You've got the cursed objects that had been pilfered by, well, not pilfered, but obtained by Yuri, as well as things. I don't think anything you got was cursed when they handed you the chest.
What's in the book? Because didn't we decide that he couldn't decide what comes out? Everything just kind of comes out together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So inside it currently is Fang's paper crane, the cursed Shadowfell dagger, the verdant hunt horn, and Book of the Seelie.
Yeah.
Those four things would just go onto the table, and then X would kind of just like pick up the paper crane and be like, "Nope, this one's mine."
So the paper crane and everything he ignores. I can't remember. Did we say the horn was? No, I think we were just tucking the horn.
No, not the horn.
The horn isn't cursed. It's
the horn's not cursed. It's just broken.
Broken. And we wanted to keep it off the radar of people because they shouldn't really have it on the radar at all.
Don't touch my horn.
Don't touch.
So I imagine like the two things, because the book's also cursed. So
yeah, the book is cursed. The dagger is cursed, and then Myron's like just kind of like does some like almost. When Myron casts magic, it's got a very kind of like Doctor Strangey kind of aesthetic. It's very like everyone sort of has their own flavor to their gesticulations and everything. And so he does a lot of like sky air runes and everything. It's very almost like he's gesticulating while having a conversation with something. It's a lot more flippant looking than you'd see like most casters really like square up and everything and get very deliberate with their hands, and he's a lot more just like gesturing, and it almost seems casual. He's very loose in the wrist, and everything. And he goes,
loose in the wrist.
"There's a it's like I believe there's one more item," and he kind of points at. I can't remember which one of you have it like wrapped up and on you. Some little bauble or doodad. You also have a cursed fishing lure, that you got. I forgot about that.
Who has it?
I think it was just in with the rest of the curse stuff for now.
Was it? I don't remember.
Yeah. We put all the curse shit together.
Yeah, so he goes, he's like, this simple. Though it would have been fun if you had accidentally used it while it was cursed. And it almost just looks like he just almost dismisses it. And all of you, even you, Fang, kind of subconsciously, because you're not like super focused on this, right? Can kind of feel like almost like a breath of release as he sort of gestures away the curse to the lore. So if it had been used while it was cursed, what would have happened is it's meant to get an object to you, right? Specifically in a body of water, you can have name a sea creature or a sea organism of some kind, and it will just pull it straight to you, right? Very useful thing. Mm-hmm. If it had been used while it was cursed, it pulls you straight to the object.
It would what?
It would pull you straight to the object that you named. So you just go into the water suddenly and just drag you.
But that could be fun. Because we could have. Oh, could you imagine we could have teleported somewhere and then Fang could have hooked us and just moved us?
Yeah, can we not decurse this one because it might be useful?
He goes. Oh, do you want it to work that way? I can make it so that it maintains. It only gets to work one way. You either pulls something to you or it pulls you to something.
As much as jokes would be fun, I can just teleport people. So that
I would think it's more. It's more nice to be able to be like sea bass, and then a sea bass just like drags to you.
Out of all, it's just shits and giggles. It'd be funny if it stayed cursed.
All right. So that one's there. Ooh, these other two, a lot. He looks up at you, Hicks, and you, Yuri, since you're the two that are more engaged with him on this. Where? Not that I'm not going to undo the curses. Where did you procure these two little things?
Wait, who's talking to us? I forgot who's doing
Myron.
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 The necromancer. The Raoul Julia guy.
I already told you, I think. You know,
Oh, was this from the
really
tower?
bad security.
Mm.
Yeah, I just walked in and took it.
Can somebody get this man a potion?
Everyone's just like, woo woo, not there.
No,
and
it's fine.
one of the
I can just
skeletons
heal
walks up
myself.
to
I just
you.
forgot I had spell slots.
You're
One of the
that close.
skeletons
That's what
just
happens when
walks
you're
up
on
to
one,
you and
one health.
what is it? 2d4 plus 4, whatever the second from the bottom level potion is. Heal yourself up. Roll that and heal yourself up.
2d4 plus 4.
Yeah.
And oh, 11. Okay, I'm on 12 hit points.
Yeah, there you go. It is
That'll do.
A little bit less goofed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Can we get this guy kind of
morning.
Morning.
Hi, Yuri.
Did we
but-
win?
Yes,
you-
sort of.
we did, but okay. Wow, I wouldn't have expected them to have this sort of. I'm concerned that they had these at all, right? Little magic fishing lure with some light curse magic that draws you in. That's fine. I can sense there's some other magical items of reasonably low levels and stuff like that. These are a little hotter. I need so you've obviously like done a good job at lining yourself up with Myron's interests and everything, so he's happy to remove these curses for you. However, I would like Yuri and Hicks. I would like each of you to roll me for Yuri. It can be either Arcana or Nature. For Hicks, it can be either Arcana or I will allow because D&D doesn't have occultism, I'm going to lump occultism into religion. And so it can be either Arcana or religion.
Hicks, do you have a minus to all of these?
Yes.
Okay, well, I have a +0, so we're going to be great at this.
Got -1.
Y'all are going to knock this out of the park.
I
That'd
got
be great.
6.
6, perfect.
Okay, I got a 15.
All right.
Woo!
Hicks, you feel this as the Shadowfell dagger gets its curse released from it. You feel that you kind of you can see Myron's hands do this little thing, little trick, little finger gesture after he finishes sort of passing over it. He kind of he uses like a sprinkling powder over the dagger. I don't think you've ever seen that. But both I would say both you and Yuri might be able to roll perception on it, but he kind of sprinkles a little bit of powder over it and then does some gestures, speaks some words, and then when the Shadowfell dagger, you feel like there's something that's trying to leave the dagger, and maybe reach out to a different plane. And Myron just catches it and is like, "Nope, no letting anyone know I took this off. That's not allowed." And the dagger is uncursed, still magical, and covered in a little bit of seasoning, is what I'll call it for now.
No, my perception shit.
Yeah, we both have good perception. We both did shit.
And so you're not really sure what that is that he did. And then for the Unseelie book, he Yuri, you feel it. Your Arcana check wasn't to suss this out. It was a different thing. You feel the curse come off of it, and you feel it lessen in that moment. And maybe there was an opportunity that it would have been a bit more powerful or a bit more connected to the original plane. But you feel the book lessen. Still very magical, still very powerful, but lessen to what it could have potentially been. Not necessarily a bad thing, because it's not like Fey items that are more powerful or less dangerous when they're in play, especially in the material plane where there's not like the guidelines of the realm to keep them in check. as easily accessible. But nonetheless, Myron's like, all right, dagger's clear, book is clear, fish lore is clear. That's all the cursed items I can sense around here. And he puts away his seasoning, if you will, and everything that he sprinkled both over the dagger and the book. And he goes, "Is there anything else that you need from me before you head out? Because I'm imagining within about a few minutes, maybe an hour or so, if we're lucky, I'm going to get people physically outside my door asking after what happened here."
What did you try catch of that dagger?
Oh, it was a message going back that when the curse was removed, that it would notify someone that the curse had been removed, and I thought it was probably best to keep it quiet. Not a message spell, almost like an indicator tag that was woven into the curse when it was put onto it. So it's sort of like if you had an alert spell, or an alarm spell of some sort, and you would get the little like warning in your mind within a certain thing. A more powerful version of that, but only attached to the curse removal system of. But
It
don't
would
worry,
kind
I
of
caught
look
it.
like a little bit like, okay, that's weird, but you would just kind of accept it.
Mhm.
I mean, before Myron leaves, before Yuri would say anything, he would try and just take the book and start like flicking through to try and determine what what the book's about, just in case it's something we need help with.
I'm not gonna make you roll for this. You're able to just read it and glance at it. At a glance, you'll need time with the book to like really dive into it. At a glance, this book seems like nonsense to you. And the reason it seems like nonsense to you is that first it looks like a historical account, but the statements of things that have happened in your past are wrong. They're different. They are misaligning with the things, and not just like in a brief summary, not just like, oh, I would have framed this historical conflict as, in this light. Well, I call it a revolution. Other people call it terrorism, right? Not that kind of different. Like factual differences, locations of conflicts, positionings of things. I would say briefly, it seems like a fictional retelling of the history of the Fey realm that puts the Seelie court in the negative light and the unseelie court in the positive light. Very strange. You'll need more time with the book during like a downtime and everything to like really dive in and get anything more than that. But at a flip, that's what the book has. And you can feel that there's like a fair amount of like arcane energy coming off of this, but it's not shaped. It's not like inherently like, oh, this is conjuration magic or evocation magic or anything like that. It's just sort of like pure thing, but it reeks of the Fey realm, if you will. And now that you're holding it and flipping through it, that little bit of seasoning, you also get a sense of demonic, divine, and demonic, divine, and Fey, sort of like just like a whisper of energy of all of those three things. And you can kind of tell that it's on the gritting. This is off the seasoning that Myron seasoned the book and the dagger with.
Seasoning. I literally wrote seasoning instead of powder, but anyway.
I mean, that's what it like. If I could describe it as anything, it's got the fine granularity of garlic powder when you sprinkle garlic powder. Yeah. So yeah, that's what I was imagining. That's why I called it seasoning. Not like a little shaker. There you go.
Fang like kind of finishes her little ritual thing with stone, and then kind of reties the cape, her cape that she's wrapped up in, into like, like when you have babies like tied around your body in a cloth. So she does that, and like so Stone is now like on her back and wrapped against her, and then she gets up and approaches the table, sees the paper crane, and picks it up, looks at Myron, and just asks, like, can you tell who is tracking this crane?
Myron, like, looks at the crane. Let me try. Fang, can you roll d20? I'm not making you roll one of your stats. I'm just having you roll the die.
Okay.
Oh, Fango!
We've all rolled really shit today, so it's your turn not to. Oh,
No,
no.
An
well, you
8.
just fucking jinxed it.
It's an 8.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I can say that the general direction of it being tracked is to the east. Pretty far off, too. But
Yuri
I-
just looks upwards.
But I unfortunately, they've done a very good job at hiding the source. Like the thing on the dagger, I don't know where that was going. I just knew that it was coming out. I can dismiss the tracking for you if you want.
Please, if you could.
And then he
I
just
would
does little finger
appreciate it.
scissors and goes bloop and just dismisses the tracking. Not a very strong spell, but a very subtle one. Nonetheless, it's gone now, and again, Yuri and Hicks, you can sense sort of like a untangling of something, that sort of magical relief of dispelling in a very small minor level. The crane still has its messenger flight abilities and all of that magic that it's
Mhm.
meant to have. It just doesn't have the tracking thread on it.
Oh.
And kind of
Before
like copies the gesture of like the finger scissors, and it's just like, huh.
snippy snip.
Yep.
Before we leave Myron again, Yuri will look to Fango. Nope, that was not what Yuri does. He doesn't just go. "Ah!"
No, he does now.
he tries to speak and then he just coughs up a little bit more blood. It's like, oh.
I
And
guess
then he's just
alarmed.
like,
Chloroplast.
God, my
Blood.
brain. No, it's okay. I'm okay. Right. For Fang, Yuri's not laughing. What, what is the plan for the body?
And kind of like pockets. She tucks the paper crane where she carries everything else. I haven't decided what that is yet.
The magical
Um,
like pouches that they just have on the outfit somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes, that. And she kind of looks to the ground and just slowly is like, I need to take Stone back to the tribe to be buried.
How far away of a walk is that, try?
I looks up and then looks at Nhudrel, realizing she hasn't quite told Nhudrel where it is specifically.
At least several weeks to get back there. From
And I decayed before I can get back there. Oh, I can put it in the Pokeball.
Like flinches at the
Myron-
thought.
Myron- Myron's
Say
like-
that was just me thinking out loud.
Oh.
Myron interrupts a little bit. Are you looking to return your this person's body back to their place of home?
Yes. Oh, if you would do not disturb
Of course.
the dead
Yeah.
for my elder cousin. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And he
She like
uh,
unties Stone from her back and places her swaddled on the table.
he casts gentle repose over the over the form, and and in that way it looks, I mean, it's not embalmed, but it almost looks like a perfectly embalmed and prepared form. The injuries,
Oh.
the injuries sort of that it has suffered dissipate. Maybe they don't disappear, but the mess of the conflict is minimized. And
Mhm.
and we can, I it will be a bit of a ritual. It'll take about an hour for us to do it, but I can have this body returned back to their homelands. I'm able to do that.
I gets confused. He's staring at him blankly, like, you have
Fang,
fast legs.
no,
That
Fang, Fang. You know when I go poof, and then I just appear over there. It's that, but a lot better.
I see.
But you might want to send a crane before the body arrives, especially if they've been consorting with hell.
I will send a message with the body in case Crane gets taken over again.
Intercepted.
In what?
Fang's like, what the fuck? Did you just
Yeah.
tell me?
That's a big word. Big word.
That's a good idea. Just make sure that they know that they consorted with devils and there might be
She
hellish
does
corruption.
like so she wants to check Stone's arm or elbow to see if Stone has taboo markings. If, like, in a sense, if she was banished from the tribe for practices, or if she kept track of that at all.
As you check the body, you discover that there are a handful of what you would see to be minor offenses on the arm, the kinds of things that would be pretty consistent that most of your tribe would have. How thorough is your search?
They're typically just on the arm. She
Good.
wouldn't think to check anywhere else.
On her arms. Actually, give me a history check. Give me a history
Okay.
check to see if you remember.
History. That's got nothing bonus. Please be kind. That's a 6.
Our rolls today are amazing,
abysmal.
guys.
That was not kind.
So what Fang doesn't think to check on this one is that because Fang would never do this, no one in Fang's like community growing up would have ever touched this, but they do. You would have been schooled in this for a great offense, a betrayal that a person considers themselves deliberately making a choice to betray who they are. Not necessarily their tribe, not necessarily their community, but who they're supposed to be as a person. There is a particular series of things that are done that are marked that are not on the arm because they are a private, they're a personal betrayal. And so what you all know as players, but your characters do not know, is that that on the kind of in the space where the kidneys would be at most accessible on a humanoid are searing branding scars that this person has put into themselves. But don't know that because you don't. Why would Fang check that?
I will say Yuri was going over. He's not actually. What's the word? Yeah, because I was going to have Yuri do this anyway. It's not looking for that, but he will just quite casually start opening clothing and just having a look. He's actually going to go. I don't want your land to be defiled. And he is actually going to start opening kind of up her armor and clothes, and just he's looking for what's the word? Hell symbols. Because the Hell Warlock, he's making sure they're not got like a Hell rune on them or sigils or anything like that. Which If I roll well, maybe I might reveal the
Yeah,
other thing.
give me a roll for it. Investigate or perception. It's got to be one of the other.
Come on,
Really
please just let me roll well. 17.
That's pretty
Yay!
good.
Yay!
You can confidently say there are no hell symbols, but I don't think that's enough for you to see. I think Yuri would see the damage to the back as more of a wound than like a wound scarred over than a than anything culturally significant. If you'd rolled like a nat 20 or you had a high bonus modifier and could get yourself to a 25 on that, I'd give it to you. But without Yuri having the years of cultural context of Fang's tribe, those do just appear. It would be the same thing that anyone that had burned themselves in a fire would have.
I mean, I think because it's burning, Yuri at least would ask. This is more to Maven. He would just, speak out loud and be like, these burns here, are they hellfire burns? Do we need to worry about that if you bury it? Because I know hellfire doesn't.
Myron looks at them. They don't seem to be of that sort of significance. I'm not seeing any sort of like demonic or devilish or infernal connection. They just seem to be burnt. And we'll leave Fang's like low history check to low, but now that it has been at least verbalized, perhaps later I will, during a dreaming time or downtime, Fang will recall that. But for now, they just appear to be burn scars. Because again, this is the kind of thing that would be like, it's so it's not like a tribe does this to you, and you'd have to like really make some deliberate high level self-betrayal, morally consciously corrupt decisions, and that's, I don't think Fang would have ever considered that in a real meaningful way. But yeah,
Hex would also kind of go up to Fang, kind of while Yuri's doing his thing, looking at her body. And he'd just go up to Fang and say, "Fang, I want to offer you this because I see you as a great fighter, and from what you have said, having to kill a clanmate of yours is not a good look for you. I won't go into the exact details, we do not have the time, but if you would like, I could carve we call it an assassination mark, on the back of her neck. What it is a mark of a Shadar-kai that has marked someone for elimination. That way, if they find this body, it cannot be tracked back to you for the killing unless you say you did it yourself. It will be tracked to a Shadar-kai, specifically me, if they ever care enough to follow it up. It's your choice."
Fang is very moved. And she like bows her head a little bit. Just like, thank you, Hicks. I bear responsibility for my choices and my actions. And I do not wish to tarnish. And she's like trying to like think about what a Shadar, like how to word what a Shadar-kai is, like if it's a clan, if it's a ethnicity, and she's
like,
she's
your
had a lot of
people?
it. Yeah, your kind for something you did not do, and my tribe might or could possibly get up high emotion and speak out. Maybe I will be honest with them though, and I will Mr. Myron, if possible, could my broadsword be sent back as well, as I have used it to spill the blood of my tribesmen. I can no longer have the honor of wielding it. Is it possible to send this back with my elder cousin's body to our home?
Yes, of course it is. I can send back whatever you need to send back. A teleportation circle, and I can have my order, I guess. I don't know what you would call it. The people of this tower be the farriers of the body. I'll keep the skeletons in the thing. They tend to make people nervous. Outside of the tower. But I'll have some of our people pallbearer the body back. With whatever you so choose to send with it.
My
Just
greatest gratitude. And she starts writing a note to send back. Sorry, go ahead.
Yuri can't read the writing, but he will just say, Fang, I know you've done this, and that's okay to take accountability for. But just make sure they understand the full reason, because the context is an important thing. Punching someone in the face and punching someone in the face because they're a bad person are two very different things. So just if you don't read the whole storybook, how are you going to know what happened? So just make sure they know the whole story. And I will be back in a minute. And Yuri says that, he squints and he's going to walk off. DM, just quick question. Because there's the skeleton guards and everything, and it's quite Gothic in architecture, would you say, in Gothic architecture, you always have the knights, the steel knights holding a great axe or something?
Oh yeah.
He's basically looking for a new weapon to replace. So he would look for a great axe potentially, or just anything that either one of the skeletons is holding, or just a great slashing weapon.
Yeah, there
basically.
absolutely is that kind of classic, Romani or Romanian, not Romani, Romanian, a Slavic sort of aesthetic to the castle with the coats, with the armored statues and everything like that. You 100% are sure, Erie, that they have the animate, the ability to animate these things and everything around there. I would love you to please roll me a D20. This is how close you will find a replacement weapon. I like a story moment,
13.
but I also like a mechanic. Yeah, a 13. These creatures don't have axes that look exactly the same as Fangs or these suits of armor. You don't see anything mounted on the wall. You do see something kind of adjacent and similar that is a bit more of. Unfortunately, the weaponry here is brutal looking, and so it's a bit more somewhere between an axe and a cleaver. That is there. But it's about the same weight. It's about the same heft. And uh, as you kind of reach for it, Myron's like, "Are you it's right there? It's right there in the main floor that you're on." Myron kind of catches it. Are you looking to replace Fang's weapon out there because you're concerned your journey back won't be safe to Southgate? I believe you said you.
He kind of does that thing like a child that's just reached for the cookie jar and has been caught, and he kind of just turns with one hand, reached out to it and he kind of just goes, and he kind of he kind of just pauses for a long time and then goes, yeah.
You helped me with that situation, and yeah, feel free. Hold on, and then he kind of does another little brief casual gesture. Okay, now you can grab it.
Okay, I'm just gonna do a personal roll for Yuri. Okay, Yuri does not get flattened by it as he tries to take off the walls. I have a minus in strength, but it is very much like it. He almost. It's almost like, what's the word? It's kind of that cartoonish, like as he kind of just flops to the floor with it, and like while Fang's writing, he's just slowly like dragging it along whilst like squatting, and it's like.
Oh,
And it's just slowly dragging
Just
it along.
hear the sounds and look up and be like, "Oh my goodness!" And she like comes over and picks it up in one hand. And she's like,
Fang, I got you a present. Found it.
oh,
It's
thank
a
you.
new cleavy thing.
So, essentially, this is about the same size because obviously your big weapon is your greatsword, right? And that's not what you. I think you used a hand axe to end her, correct?
It was the sword.
It was the sword.
She
Okay.
was.
Sword.
I think she was wielding the sword.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
was.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
the
you
Roman
put it through her
describing
body.
sword.
I remember the scene now.
Mm.
Just such a heartbreaking scene. Emotionally monstrous. So you get this. This is not a broadsword. It's not a great sword. This is essentially like if you took something between, say, like a meat cleaver and a machete and scaled it up for someone the size of Fang. So it is yeah, it's a nasty little weapon. It does have a bonus onto it. You don't know what that is. You'll have to sit with it for an hour to attune to it, but it is a magical weapon.
ooh,
Minor
Oh,
bonus. Mm-hmm.
spicy.
I'm guessing you would just add it into her because I think you can add things.
Yeah, I can throw
Yeah,
throw
you
them
can.
into the inventory. And I'll inevitably do it offline, like immediately after the session, so I don't forget. I'll probably just rename the greatsword that you have because it has the same base stats. Because I don't want you. I love this roleplay wise. I'm not going to like punish you for making an excellent little emotional choice here when you're in a tower that's filled with all these kind of cool things that you could easily swap it out. But so I'll modify the current weapon you have, change its flavor a little bit, but I will do that at the end of session. But nonetheless, for now, you get it. It's and give me an insight check.
to the great axe.
Yeah.
That disappeared behind like that's
It's
a 7.
Oh, we're just so good today.
You're doing
Um,
amazing.
nothing feels bad about the weapon, and you
Okay.
taking it makes sense
Uh-huh.
and is pragmatic. Something at the back of your mind is like trying to surface as a thought, but can't quite yet. You're gonna have an emotional time on your next long rest. Is what I'm saying.
Like staring at the weapon in her hand.
Oh, your great grandma. Even though it's not an axe, it's a sword, but
Tomato.
It's really a butcher cleaver, but
okay. Well, your grandma was a butcher. She made great kebabs.
Is it okay that I take this? And she like stares at Myron because she feels like she's given him a lot of tasks already.
Where am I going to find more weapons? And he kind of casually gestures. There's just a bunch, just like tucked into wall coves and like up on shield mounts. Is like it's fine, Fang.
He pauses for a moment. She's like, sarcasm.
Yuri has a slightly like kind of a sulky looking face. I can hear ask Myron because Yuri's like, my gift to you to pick, and is kind of like sulking in the corner because of like the gift giving culture that his people has, and he's like, I'm just giving him my freaking gift.
Did she? Hold on. Let me perception check to see if she
see if you can see the
that will be
salt.
insight. That will be insight.
That's an insight.
Oh, insight. Okay. Well,
she's not hiding from you.
Check no, she has no clue.
Wait. Let me see how much Yuri plays this up. Okay, that was a 24.
Wow, he's so fucking dramatic.
Okay.
It's really pouty. He's got tears streaming down his face. He's like,
24 Trump might too because that's super obvious.
Did you roll a natural 2? I gotta respect the natural.
It was
2.
a nat 1.
Oh, it's a nat 1. Oh yeah, then no. You simply cannot.
No.
Hicks,
He's
you
not-
notice it.
otherwise
Nhudrel notices
distracted.
it. there's someone over in a different tower that's like, I feel like someone's sulking.
Hicks is genuinely just gonna like walk up to Yuri, and if he's still got the book in his hand, he's just gonna like take the book away, and he's gonna start putting stuff back in the orb. He's like, I'm not dealing with this child's crying for no fucking reason. I got more pressing matters to deal with.
The second you try to take the book, Yuri's going to do that like childish thing of like hugging it close to himself and then just sprinting away. He's like,
Oh no.
just running
right.
into another room.
Hicks won't even bother.
Hey,
He'll just be like, fine, then carry it.
pressing-
He's gonna start putting like other shit back in the orb.
pressing for time. I know that you have things that you need to wrap up, but if you don't want to interact with the other heads of the council, it might be time to skedaddle.
Right.
Yes.
And Fang
yeah,
goes
Fang
back
says
to
he's
writing
right
her
ahead.
note. She's going to write a very specific sigil on, after like she's folded up, she's writing a specific sigil that indicates like kind of not quite danger, but like alert, like proceed with caution kind of thing on the note, but also has a personalized sigil in the corner. So it's like, be cautious while with the body, and this is from Fang. So it's like an immediate for the sake of her tribesmen. And she has detailed what she has done, what Stone has done, like the types of things she delved into with summoning demons and whatnot, so that the shaman will know how to properly address that, and that she's sending back her great sword because it was used to spill tribesman blood. But yeah, she puts her great sword next to Stone's body, puts the note on top of Stone's body, gives it a bow, and then looks to Myron and says, if you would.
We'll get working on that. It will take some time because we have to ritual cast it to get it to connect to a place that none of us have ever been. But it will. If you'd say it's a methodology for sending someone within the same plane back to their home. It's a modification of teleportation and interplanar travel. Requires some magic items. It'll take at least an hour for my people to coordinate it. An hour that if I thought you had the time, I would gladly house you here and welcome you as guests. But I do not think that you.
We do not, but I will be back to give you present. You are a wonderful person. I thank you.
I thank you for helping me, because whatever that was, and he kind of gestures out to the giant Titan statue that's in the center. Probably best we didn't activate anything about it. You have all done a service, whether the other council people recognize it or not, to the Octatic Synod. We can begin addressing the crisis of our capital, Neapolis, and recovering and rebuilding in this time. Everybody, insight roll.
Insight.
Oh, we're all so good at that.
You're all
I got
so
an
good.
8.
Hold on. I nearly rolled the wrong thing.
I'll have Nhudrel
I got
do
an
it.
18.
I got 19! Woo! Finally got it!
To be fair,
Yeah!
Yuri is in another room, just poking his head around the corner, so makes sense.
What's
Do your
that?
thing, little bitch.
Only because Nhudrel is the but with the 19 Hicks and the 18 Fang, whether or not you'd emotionally care too much about it in this moment, there is a bit of, as he talks about people, as he thanks you for all of your help in resolving this issue. Hicks and Fang, you both catch there's a bit of, his mind is partially somewhere else and his nerves are up about something. not talking about it, but you can see that there's like some tension and some worry and some concern that like don't fit the language or the face that he's putting right now. I wouldn't say it's deception so much as he's thinking about something else right now.
You thank us, but there's something else on your mind. Is that something we need to know?
Nothing that should have you tarry here for now.
I mean, Yuri can hear that still, right? With
Yeah.
Hicks asking that.
Yeah.
Hicks is it the big scary skeleton that flew away?
Yeah, because Yuri was the only one that saw
Like,
it.
what?
Myron looks, and it's the first time you've seen a sheepish instead of like a magnanimous grin on his face. He goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to address that problem. Your warnings were heard, but unfortunately, I did not have the ability to, in the moment, correct that. So it seems that there might be a challenge for my seat coming down, and it'll be the priority of the day, week, month, however long it takes."
I mean, do you know where its jar is?
Unfortunately, I don't.
I'm
Otherwise, I
glad
would.
he knows what I meant by that, because Yuri would not know how to explain it in any other
Yeah,
way.
he knows that you mean his phylactery. Unfortunately, I don't.
Oh.
Otherwise, I would have
Okay.
addressed that when I could. Although, admittedly, there were benefits to me leaving him down. I wouldn't mind having those benefits again, but I think this time a more permanent effort to the solve.
You guys have really bad security here. I'm just gonna point that out.
Dangerous toys, dangerous lives. Yes.
I can't judge, to be fair. It's fine.
Like, punches
Hicks
her
is
fist.
just gonna start like looking out the window and like making sure that no one's coming, because now he's like, okay, we need to go. We've done our shit. Let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, it does look like more and more people are flooding out. It is about that time, Hicks, to get to stepping.
Yuri
Feet,
will
if
ask
you will.
one final question,
Mhm.
because we kind of have no incentive. Where should if I need to get home, maybe potentially, for important reasons, or just do you have any suggestions where we should go now from here? Because yeah, we're gonna go outside and move away, but we don't really know where we're going. Do you have anywhere we could suggest?
Let me roll a die about it. Straight D20. Gonna be kind of high check because they don't really know. That ain't it. That ain't it.
Oh,
I will say this. What was it? The Conjuration Tower? That's the Portal-y tower, right? Tower? Stupid magic themes. Well, I would say that the council person you were talking to would probably have the most information on that. So if you want to have a conversation with them,
No. Good.
if we're talking
we
about
can
you
go back
getting,
to Southgate.
yeah, if we're talking about you getting back to your home, that kind of knowledge and information is usually reserved for the ruling class or those that are the most powerful. So I would seek them with wherever you're at.
Didn't we need to go to the big city for some reason?
To Neapolis?
Asking the others.
Hicks needs
I forgot his name. Let me scroll up.
information.
Because I remember there was like when we were first debating coming to the towers, we were like, oh, we should go to the big city, but also the big towers, and we debated which one to go to first. But I don't remember why we needed to go to
The big city is
Right.
where the university actually is. This is the seat of, this is the governmental seat. In Neapolis is where the university arcane is.
And that's also where the students we went round to, right?
Yeah. The
ones
students
we
that you
helped.
saved, they had all been refugees from that university.
Doesn't Hicks have a lead that goes to like the main city state of?
Adraen.
Trying to remember.
Land or something. A
Was it
drain,
the creepy,
yeah.
the creepy skelly man?
Yeah,
who
the thing
told
is
us-
with Skelly Man, that's what I'm reading now, is Manister. Hicks was like, yeah, sure, we will get the info for you and then come back. And he was not being 100% truthful because he was kind of like, I don't want to, you've got nothing for me. I've stolen out your cellar to give jewelry to Fang's bunny and now I'm out. But he did also say that they would get a reward if they did bring information back to them. So, and
I
then
mean-
because he's like,
Yeah.
what is he, like a mayor or something? He might be able to help them.
He's
speak
the
to
advisor
their
to
past.
the mayor of Southgate, but you got
Yeah.
kind of vibe like, are you the advisor and quietly like extremely important, and we just like don't really know the inner workings of the political dynamic there. He's the advisor to the mayor. Yeah.
And also, as we were leaving, they were rebelling against that very mayor because I did accidentally on purpose start a bit of a rebellion.
You did do that.
Deadly
mayor's, like, no
We're
longer
not
be in
gonna
power.
go back to him.
But the main
Okay.
city might still have a shout, and he said that they might know about portals, but also maybe if there's more rift stuff are happening, there's probably the main city is the best place to get news.
Yeah, if you want to go to the actual capital of Adraen, that would be. I mean, Hicks, you would know that there's both that, there's the library, the library of Adraen, which is where the students went to, which is nearish by the capital, um, and kind of on a small body of water, that might have some information on it. But yeah, Myron sort of confirms that it's like no one in the regular population is going to be able to help you with the idea of these portals and rifts. They're usually referred to for the ruling class or the very, very powerful independent.
Yeah. So then the best thing would, yeah, because Hicks kind of knows, not like 100%, but he kind of knows the capital area because he's been there.
Yes.
So when Myron says that, he would just kind of just be like, oh, well, that we need to go to the capital then. And he'd kind of like be like looking at Yuri as he says that.
Yuri waves.
Hicks is like, okay, widow.
Fang
Yuri's
does like
like, why are we looking at me?
If you want to find more information on portals or how to get back to your home, like Mayrena said, we need to speak to people of higher powers. That we will find in the capital.
Okay. Well, it's been lovely meeting you, Marion. If you need anything, please contact us. Genuinely, like if this a big scary flying man comes back, please let us know. We might not be in the neighborhood, but you helped us. We'll potentially help you again. Thumbs up. Look, I need to leave now. Bye. Just wave.
Myron.
Just back out.
Goodbyes are always so challenging. Yes. Skellies, please go out and create an appropriate distraction for our guests to extricate themselves from the Crest Arcana region, so that they can be unperturbed on their merry way back to toward Adraen and its capital city. If you do speak with any of the royal family, send them my regards.
No, do they know you?
Yes, of course. I've met with them multiple times as part of.
Wait. You have teleportation circles. What are you walking?
It's just gonna look at Yuri like, you rude little shit.
I have the ability. I have the ability here to create a teleportation for this person. Then I'd need another hour or so to do that. I don't know if I can prevent them from knocking on your door.
Yuri, we don't have the time. Just walk, okay?
Well,
Let's go.
hey, let it go through a fun portal.
Had enough trauma with portals. Can we just leave, please?
Fang does like the punch his fists in palm thing, and then points to Myers like, I will bring you the head of the flying skeleton man to help your chair.
Skeleton man.
An impressive feat, if you could. I'd be more than pleased, but don't get yourself in too much danger. But I appreciate the offer, and if I were to receive such a gift, I think it would have to come with a responsive title. That'd be fun. That'd be very fun. And Myron's brain immediately becomes distracted at the idea of naming Fang some sort of officiant of the Octatic Synod, a person that is deeply not connected with magic, like wizardry, being in any kind of rank or status, and how much that
Fang
would
just goes
upset
back
people.
to her people and goes, "I'm an archwizard now."
I am
Hicks is just like ushering everyone to the door. Like he's like, enough with your conversations, please.
Nhudrel is helping.
Go before we
Nhudrel is
die."
helping that. Nhudrel's like, yes, we need to go.
Gives Myron a big wave and like bolts.
So all of you head out of there. You do not need to do a stealth check. Myron is appropriately running interference on the rest of them as you exit your way, and you are headed back north, away, kind of back the way you came, if you will. Correct? Toward Adraen. As stated, it's about midday. You've got a good solid like 4 to 6 hours of like road travel you can do, and we are back on the road toward Adraen. My question for you is: when you approached this place, when you approached the Synod, you had sort of veered out to the coasts
Ocean.
and then cut in to veered out to the Wounding Sea coast and then cut back into the Octatic Synod. Do you go back that direction, or do you just go up the main essentially King's Road north? The one will be faster. The King's Road is of course faster. And
I think they should stick to the coast until they're in Adraen.
And we did take out the actual threat that was on the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But more so, like, they shouldn't be on the main roads when people are potentially looking for them. At least until they're in the next, like, state place over.
All right, so
And
you
then I
head.
can check to see if anybody's interacted with the witch's hut. Maybe.
Yeah, you could. So you head back toward the coast of the Wounding Sea. The coast of the Wounding Sea, back toward the path that you came, and because it's well tread, there is not a lot of confrontation, especially here on this first day in the middle of the day and everything like that. So you do not need to roll like a encounters check as you're traveling for about 4 to 6 hours. Do you all, other than the sort of normal small talk and inevitable community conversational things, do you do anything else on your travels back toward Adraen before you find a safe spot to set up camp for the night?
I think, quite honestly, Yuri, whilst he seems perky, the second they start walking, Yuri, who has almost died, and they're still very weak, is probably just going to absolutely just start to go and potentially just kind of clamber up onto Fang's back and try and have a nap.
Like a little,
Yeah,
like
thanks.
a monkey.
Fang's just piggybacking him.
He's just gonna kind of flop over him and kind of like hum
He's
to
like
himself, but he is like
buried
so
in her
exhausted.
hair.
Yeah, he's just like deliriously tired.
Yeah, I guess.
We
I
have
think
had a
if
very busy
anyone
day.
was like paying attention to, I don't know, Hicks, it would be kind of easy to see really if they looked. They would see like blood staining his like his sleeves, like lower down on his sleeves towards his hands, but also like it would look like it doesn't look like blood that has dried from the fight. Like, I'm assuming this would have been like a couple of hours as they're walking or however long. But it doesn't look like dried blood from the fight. It's more like wet still on his sleeves. But he'd kind of like walk along next to Fang and then just kind of like make sure Yuri's not going to like fall off backwards. Or as funny as that would be, he would, push him back up.
I mean, Yuri's still awake because he's an elf, so he doesn't actually sleep.
Yeah, but he's like, meh.
But
Can that call for a sniff check?
yeah,
Sniff
Yeah,
check that?
yeah, sniff that.
Sniff
I'm also
check
going to
that.
perception check that.
Pretty low DC for smelling blood.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
12.
like it's it's right there.
But
It's not
also,
like
she's kind of like glancing at Hicks in general because she's like feeling very thankful and doesn't know how to express it to Hicks.
oh maybe.
But then she like notices the blood and she like pauses. She takes a beat. Like she pauses for a moment and then keeps walking. It's like, is your hands? They're wet with blood. Are you injured, Hicks?
It kind of just like look down at his arms, be like, ah, yes, right, blood.
Hey, did you,
He
hey,
just kind of look like, oh yeah.
yeah, Yuri's gonna like wait, like he's gonna kind of like doing that like tired like bapping thing. But as he does eventually manage to make contact, you are getting his last cure wounds. For what a day for my bloody headset to die.
Oh no.
The mic works.
Huh?
Or it
Well,
did.
it worked in that moment.
I did.
Might have been beeping like I'm shutting
Oh,
down.
what a moment for my headset to die. Good God. But yeah, I cure wounds you.
Hold on, I'm just checking something quick.
So you get over 12 healing.
Let me look at things.
Hold on.
A moment.
Did I miss something?
No, I'm asking Steve something.
Yeah,
quick.
yeah, I think so. I think so. Your cure wounds, like you feel that like there's a like overall sort of like hail and hearty effect, right?
I
The
mean, I'll
normal
take the 12
effect.
though.
But the blood doesn't stop. Doesn't clear.
He's looking perkier though. He's like, woo, I got 12 health. Where? But then he'll kind of like, as Yuri does it, he will kind of just look at him and then just say, "That's very kind of you, but it will not stop the bleeding. It's nothing you need to worry about. It is
Is it a punishment?
Is he
a
having
punishment
his
would be a
time of
interesting." Put your time on the month, Hicks. I had a really rough day. Okay.
He's of a different species, so she's like, is this how your kind has their time of the month?
He just kind of he would say to Yuri, punishment is not the right word, no. But it is something that I cannot take off. And then he would kind of like just like push his sleeves up a little bit. And what you'd see are like these very elegant. He doesn't push his sleeve up the whole way because that's going to take too much effort. But you'd see these like very elegant looking like braces that go around his wrist / arm. And they're very elegant, but they're very plain except for they have like some runes, but you wouldn't be able to really see them. That go up the middle, top, whatever of his arm. But from underneath those braces is where the blood is dripping out and like dripping down his hand. So he'd kind of pull his sleeve up to show those, and then just say, "It's this. These braces do this when we go through a particularly difficult fight. It is something all Shadowkai warriors have."
Is it? Do you need to change your bracers or your cycle?
Hicks looking like, what? No, I cannot take them off. Even if I
Oh.
tried, they don't come off.
Do, do you need rags? I have extra rags that are very clean. Fang takes great care. Do you need for your
Okay.
that?
For your braces.
No,
For your
the Dex won't
Shadowfell
help.
bullshit.
Your Shadowfell bullshit. No, the rags, they will not help. It will continue to bleed like this for a while longer. It will stop
Yuri's-
eventually.
Yuri's gonna look around and go, are there, Fang, are there bears in this area of the wood? Is he gonna attract bears?
Fang looks at the ocean and is like, I am not familiar with bears from the
It's an ocean
sea.
bear! Oh no, it's just a wave. Oh.
I need you to know that immediately I am instantly statting out what an ocean bear enemy looks like. Just because.
Oh, no.
Ocean bears, no!
Ocean bear. Oh, you practice
I'm-
free bleeding.
It's just gonna be like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay, weird barbarian lady.
I will say this.
Do you need a sun cup?
I will say this, Yuri. I will say that is the first time. Even though you're not unfamiliar with a lot of things around Shadowfell and Shadowkai. I don't think you knew that. I don't think you would have known that little detail when Hicks goes, we all wear them, like we all have them. I don't think Yuri would have known that. That's not something that they
No.
like. It's like join the shadow, be a Shadowkai, have
And you
blood
get
bracers.
fun, pretty braces.
You get blood bracers. Like I think that
Well, he said the warriors wear them.
the warriors wear them and everything, and so I
Mm.
don't think you would have known that it's like we can't take these off. It's about like the struggle, like the grandness of the struggle is part of the effect of them, or part of what activates them. So yeah, I think this would be the first time you're actually learning that. It wouldn't be something that would just be like a sort of like, oh yeah, in Shadowkai or this, like the histories of them more. But that little detail, not something that you knew about.
Yeah, I think Yuri's biggest concern is the bears because he's just still really tired.
Feel free to roll a nature check to see if there's bears in this in this region.
I feel like it's
Also
like one of
got a
those
nature
things that
check,
would
right?
have caused a great conversation if Yuri wasn't absolutely delirious at this point in his life from
17.
exhaustion.
Fang, there are
We didn't see any
definitely
bears on the way here.
You didn't see any bears there. Bears exist in this area. You know that bears are around. You haven't seen any, but you know that this is definitely bear grounds. You know that they're probably a little they're probably more likely to be closer up to or there's probably not as many down here, but there's a sea. It's a pretty salty sea, but there's a sea beside you, being the Wounded Sea, and you know that there's a river up by Southgate, and so there's no
Mhm.
reason that with the tree coverage and everything here that bears wouldn't be around. They wouldn't be extremely populous, but a bear could show up.
I will wrestle any bear. Especially if it is rude to attack somebody for free flowing. That is not kind.
You could say it's barely acceptable.
Oh God!
If it bothers you so much,
Oh.
when we get to the next water source, I will
Psychic
try and
damage
wash
for the
some of the blood
GM.
away. Hicks isn't even playing into their bullshit. He's just kind of like, fine, I'll wash it when we get to the next water source, but it's just gonna carry on bleeding until it stops.
It is what it is.
You need
I mean, I would
blood
suggest cleaning a
medicine.
wound anyway.
But it's like he's free flowing. It flows until it, I guess, stops.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't
Like
think
a
Like a
nosebleed.
faucet?
completely understands the concept of what's going on, to be very honest. Okay.
Fang's understanding of it is that Hicks is menstruating from his arms,
Yeah,
and that's a
makes sense.
Shardarkar thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Specifically to the warriors.
This is why Fang's like, this is why he's so grumpy.
He's thinking
He's just
up.
been having really bad cramps this entire campaign.
Oh, arm cramps instead? Like just arm cramps constantly? Terrible.
Oh my god, he's just like,
fuck. Just having to
can we
extend
give
his arms.
Hicks arm cramps mid combat?
No, I'm not gonna punish Hicks for this bit.
It doesn't even do that, but anyway.
I think Fang's ineptitude is punishing enough.
But nonetheless, so after you have your conversation about what I'll probably only for this session refer to as Hicks's arm time of the month, but yeah, you don't see anything, no perception rolls necessary. You do a fair bit of traveling. You know that it's because you traveled it the other way. You know that it's like 3-4 days of walking until you get to Adraen in spitting distance of Southgate. Going this route. But more importantly, on this first night of the journey, you find a relatively easy and secure place to sort of set up your camp. Moving a little bit faster than when you came down because you're more familiar with the areas that you've been to, and everything. Before you all take your rests / watches for the night and everything like that, is there anything any of you do?
Well, first of all, Hicks will go wash his sleeves so that they both shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Um,
And yeah, you do find like a little outcropping of the wounded sea that like becomes
yeah, he'll
almost
just go
a
like
little pondy
rinse
thing.
his
There's some
like,
little
cookie and sleeves.
little
and stuff.
hermit crab. Wounding sea, by the way, is a misnomer. It's more of a sound to be more accurate of water because it's not quite like a Mediterranean, but like it's a carve-in from the Mistress, which is the ocean to the west of all of you, and so it's got a lot of fresh water coming in from the rivers off of the mountain range that's beside it, or it's got a fair amount of like fresh tributaries, but like it's still too soaked, too apparent, to be purely like clear fresh water. So it's sort of a mix.
Yeah. But yeah, Hicks would, the first thing he'd do when they go past water is like clean his arms. Then he'd go back to camp and he'd probably want to study the dagger, but then probably have to get up at least once or twice more and go to the water and clean his arms again until finally probably stops, probably like, I don't know, like mid-evening.
Yeah.
But he would want to study the dagger because now it's not cursed anymore.
Yuri will kind of say to Fang, it's kind of like, what's the word? Well, he'd go, Fang, there's water over there, and you've got a fancy fishing rod. You could try and find some fancy dinner.
I can make fish for dinner. And she gets all excited and she jumps up and runs over to the water's edge to go fishing.
Now, question: do you fish with like normally, or do you fish with your magic summoning lure?
Does she understand that yet?
Byron like loosely explained it.
Yeah, we did tell
Okay.
her as well.
Yeah. You all knew what it did.
She'll attempt the magic fish lure situation.
All right, Reia, what kind of fish would Fang like hope to obtain in a fishing like this?
Blue whale. Oh, it's not
Big fish.
What is it? Salty
actually,
water? Is it more salty or is it more fresh?
To be very clear, it is not just fish. It is a sea creature or a body of water creature.
Get lobster.
Dragon turtle. Dragon turtle.
So you
Eating
can
a dragon turtle.
But yeah, it's the spell specifically is once a day. You can be like, I want, or I'm hoping to catch this, and then you cast it into the water, and whatever you ask for will come.
Fang's gonna confer to her book from Yuri. that has like recipes on the front,
Oh,
so that she can
yeah.
identify a kind of fish that would be good to use. And I'm trying to figure out what kind.
I don't care.
What
Part of the reason I made the wounding sea the way that it is, kind of a mix of freshwater and
tuna.
saltwater, is so that you can say nearly any sea creature, and it's like, yeah, that's in there. Sure, it's in there
It is
somewhere.
lobster. It's fresh and salt, so it doesn't matter.
We don't have butter.
But yeah, she could ask for a
Make a
lobster.
fucking plan.
I'm in debate whether I want to summon a lobster or a mahi-mahi. Just because that's the first giant fish that popped into my head.
Big old tuna.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, lobster or tuna.
I'm gonna roll about it. I'm gonna roll about it.
I guess this is the
I'm
important.
gonna do an odds and evens.
These are the key moments of a campaign: is lobster or tuna, right here, right now.
Yeah, Yuri in the meantime will be fastening the string to his bow.
Odds, lobster, evens, tuna.
Or was it? Yeah, was it?
Tuna!
Was it?
Are we gonna get sashimi? Fang, make us sashimi.
She'll sure try.
I mean, she can't. There is no environment that your tribe, when fishing, didn't know how to prepare raw fish. Like that is a definitive. Every like it went out of fad in different regions, but pretty much every region that fished knew how to eat a version of raw fish. So if you want it to be sashimi, then it's sashimi.
Be prepared to be wooed by her sashimi.
Her
tuna sashimi.
Give me a. It is definitely edible, but give me a performance check with advantage since you're working off of a recipe.
Performance check.
Or nature if it's a higher stat for you.
Nature is higher for me.
Yep, with advantage, yeah.
Oh. Click there. Yes, click that. Yes. 12.
12.
That's mid.
So
it's still above a 10.
Yeah, it's still above a 10, so it's still good. It's a solid 4-star Yelp review, which means like it can be pretty good. It's not going to be the best you've had, but a solid. But nonetheless, so the catching of this is very specific because you cast your rod out. You're thinking of this giant, like tuna body that you can prepare, and you think to yourself what you assume is going to happen: that you cast your rod out, you cast the lure out, and then something's going to bite, and then you have to pull it in, and you know how to like stick rod fish. You've done it before, and everything. That's not what happens. What happens is that you sit there for like a few minutes, waiting like you're used to, and you're like, oh, maybe it doesn't work. And then sailing out of the water as if it was being hucked directly at you, a giant, like a large-sized tuna just slams into your body, Fang, as if it leaped into your arms, just like wiggling and everything. And that is the magic, is that it's not even that the lure is the thing that's like, bite the lure. It's that it sends it to whoever is in possession or wielding.
I want Yuri to go fishing and to get smacked in the face by a really big tuna that's bigger than him.
That'd
be really funny.
Yeah, if you'd been a smaller person, like if you'd been the normal size of your tribe, this thing would have knocked you on your back. It's hefty. And it just slaps into you. And wriggles about there until you put it out of its misery, I guess. Until you kill it and dress it and prepare it. So we've got
holding it triumphantly over her head.
We got Hicks on the dagger. We got Fang catching and preparing food. What was Yuri doing in the kind of camp downtime?
Yuri's putting that magical bowstring on his bow that you gave me ages ago.
The thing.
Yeah, I'm guessing you can just alter my bow between sessions.
Yeah, I'll just add it to. I was thinking about creating a separate item, and I'm like, no, this should just be on your weapon, because you mentioned that you were going to de-string the ukulele and put them.
I mean, you could probably you might need to actually make it a separate item to actually add to the rolls. So I'm not sure if you can edit.
But it's sort of a once a day charge maximum effect kind of thing. But nonetheless, so you're working with that. So you're all kind of working on your existing sort of like magical items. Nhudrel's reading the various books that he has on his person, right? Um, uh, understanding a little bit more both that like the things that Yuri gave him, as well as other books that you've collected over time. He's being a nerd. Um, uh, but nonetheless, it's a fairly peaceful camping thing. I'm not going to I'm not going to. You can all just hit your long rest button now. I'm not going to do anything that prevents you from getting a long rest. Long rest away. But I am going to do something at nighttime for Fang as they go to sleep, or for each of you as you go to sleep, with sort of the things that you have gathered, acquired, or gained knowledge of.
Also, just one thing before they actually go to sleep. Hicks would also then check his book that he got from Yuri again. Those specific thing that you sent. He's gonna go check and just have a look, see if anything's changed.
Nothing's
After
been
he's done the
updated
dagger.
in the book. Nothing's been updated in the book, and that implies possibly a theory that you have may not be 100% accurate.
Fuck.
Yeah. It's a good theory. It's a great theory. If I didn't have something prepared for it, I absolutely would have pulled the old classic GM. Yeah, that's what it is. Nailed it in one. Great job, player. You're clever. But yeah.
You're clever. I'm not clever anymore.
No, it was very clever. It's a very clever gimmick, but yeah, nothing changes in that. So that does give you a little bit of insight. Maybe that entry isn't what exactly you thought it was, or rather, what it's specifically about. But, but yeah.
And then also, Steve, that was the thing that I messaged you about with the morning.
Let me go to it. Let me go to it.
So that'll be in the morning.
Yeah, that'll be in the morning. Yep. So this will actually affect things. Let us start with Fang, because I just want to make Reia sad.
Alright. I'm such an easy target for shit.
Fang, you prepare a wonderful meal. Very, very, very pleasant. It's not your best work. You feel like if you did this a few more times, you'd get better at it. But very pleased to tackle this, and then kind of prepare camp. Nhudrel stays up, sort of reading for a bit, but you are kind of emotionally and physically exhausted from the day's events, and so it is not hard for you to fall asleep. While you sleep, you dream. Not a magical dream of some caster inserting their thoughts into your head or other planar beings. This is very much a real dreaming state. The sort of vagaries that are hard to like recall in the conscious mind. But two things sort of linger in your mind. The first of which is, it is in this dream, long after you're sure that Stone's body has already been referred to your tribespeople, returned to your tribespeople, that the burns trigger the memory. You know what those are about. It was dancing in the back of your mind. A betrayal of self, as I described earlier. Not something that a tribesperson would put upon another person, only something that someone would put upon themselves. And not even really necessarily for the tribe. It doesn't have to be something like it doesn't even have to be something that someone would say would be like a community harm or anything. But the bird marks are there. And in this moment, you know that at some point in Stone's history, whatever it might have been about, there were two, because there were two burns. There were two moments where Stone felt and deliberately made a choice going against what they felt was the right thing to do in the moment, for the correct thing to do by their judgment at that time. The morality of the people who raised you is complicated and not as simple as do what's best for the community and be yourself. They understand that the world is made of like hard decisions that even if they're the most utilitarian beneficial choice in the moment, they may not be the ethically correct thing for a person. And it is those moments that these kinds of markings are put upon a person by themselves. And they're usually put in places that that person is not revealed to the public. Because they are theirs and theirs alone to wrestle with. So you remember that. Other thing that was tickling at the back of your mind when you got the weapon gift from Yuri and thanked Myron for it. Thing that was dancing is that weapon, very effective. You know it to be stronger than the sword that you had before. Better steel, better made, maybe even a bit magical. So you won't fully remember this. It will stay as a uneasy feeling. That's a murderer's blade. That's not a blade for something. And in this dream, it feels almost correct that you give up the weapon that you had killed a tribesman be, and another type of almost environmental branding happens to you, where you carry no longer a broadsword that's a utilitarian weapon handed to knights and soldiers and guards and everything, and has been used to defend, but a weapon that is meant to cleave. A butcher's weapon, if you will. And that lives with you, and you can emotionally have Fang deal with that kind of unease that you killed one of your tribesmen and the weapon that you were handed. Not deliberately, not as a judgment or ruling, but almost by fate itself, is a blade that's better for killing than it is for blocking or defending. That's your dream. Hicks, well, you're on your side of the watch, since you and Yuri tend to share watch duties. Since you can both trance and everything. You are sitting with your Shadowfell dagger that you've reclaimed that is no longer cursed. In attuning or choosing to understand this dagger, not necessarily locking or connecting yourself with it in a way that is like binding or contractually agreement, which is good because stuff in Shadowfell, as you're very recently had to explain, occasionally can do that. They can soul bind to you. This does not do that. It doesn't do that not because it can't, but because it's not turned inwardly. Can I have you, Hicks, roll me a... Let's go with a, Can I have you roll me a, either an Arcana or a History or a... Yeah, it's gotta be, it's Arcana, History, or I'll even give it to this, or Nature check, one of those three. If any of those three are
-1s.
higher.
Woo! Let's
Minus
go.
ones
Doesn't
across
fucking
the
matter.
board. Okay. Roll what you like.
That
It's
was
the same
nearly
information.
20. That was nearly 20. It stopped and then it went boop over. It's a 13.
It's a 13. That's not so bad. That's not so bad.
But it was going to be a 20.
I don't think you've heard... This object is immediately familiar in its craftsmanship. It is from the Shadowfell. It's old. It's like one could... In a different scenario, one would argue it's well before your time. That's not 100% the case here, but it's it's a more ancient version of, say, a weapon that you might have, but it has an incredible magical power to it, something that you are not expecting it to do.
Ooh.
The nature of this thing is activated once, and it can only activate once once a 30 days, so once a month, essentially. It is not meant to use this power frequently. It is very strong. certainly being from Shadowfell, you're familiar with the manipulation of the souls of the dead. To some degree. You've never seen a blade from Shadowfell whose entire purpose, it seems, its most powerful purpose, is if it is the killing blade. It is the blade that ends the life on the material plane. It sends the soul not to Shadowfell, nor does it trap the soul. It sends it to the hells.
Oh Jesus!
Oh my god.
Oh Jesus! Can I burn
It does
that
not have
dagger?
any kind of magical damage increase. It is not a uniquely more deadly blade than any other finely crafted Shadowfell dagger. But at least once a month, possibly based in some sort of cycle or like lunar structure or something, you can't quite nail it down.
Only when you're bleeding from your arms.
When you're bleeding from when you're during menstruation, during your menses, your arm menses. When Aunt Flo is in town.
Nick was never gonna open up about himself ever again.
I will leave off of it. I won't treat this like the wig gimmick with Nhudrel. I will leave off of it after this session. But I gotta
Remember,
milk
kids,
it.
we're here to bully Nhudrel, not Hicks.
But nonetheless, yeah, you've never seen anything that sends something to the nine to like the hells. You don't know why this would be. This is not like if something has to be. If for whatever reason the work of the Raven Queen or any other, like operative or of Shadowfell in general would involve for some reason that process, it would be normal to like bring it to Shadowfell and then address it. This just automatically does that. And it does it, and it's not like a triggering thing. It's not like a you stab them and then you say these words. If it's been 30 days or more since this has done it, it will do it. If it kills something. Not just if it can wound something and that's fine, but if it puts in the killing blow. So you see it more.
Oh.
It's obviously, even though it would be a regular dagger in combat, it's obviously more of a ritual knife. But that is what you learn, and then you have your normal trance and everything.
Well, he's gonna put that in the orb and leave it there. Nobody's they're not gonna tell anyone about it either because it's very dodgy.
That's fine. It can absolutely go in the orb.
Because me with my one health, I could have pricked my finger on it, picking it up, and I would have just
Oh god.
off to hell.
Yeah, off to hell you go. That would have shifted the campaign's tone aggressively and the direction of it.
We're going to the nine hells at level 4, baby.
No, you say to Steve. Jess has already sent one of my characters to hell last week. Thank you, or the week before. So
by mistake.
This also would have been by mistake, but not by.
But he killed my character.
It was quite funny. Not gonna lie.
Of course. But and so that's sort of your evening's events. Yuri, you have a moment of reflection as you kind of move into your trance. You have a moment of reflection. There's some things that you know for sure, and you know them in like your bones. No. Number one, at no point did it appear that the Unseelie Queen ever really knew that you were there. Number two, you have avoided the material plane getting itself into considerable amounts of trouble and possibly prevented a very complicated interplanar problem for all of the planes. Number three. What the Fey realm understands about the material plane is not necessarily accurate, or rather organized in a way that it lines up. Perhaps this is the moment that you realize that because time works differently and certain things is like people from the Fae realm can like guide their portal entries more, but they're less interested in the material plane because it doesn't have the juice of other planes, if you will. Doesn't mean that this shouldn't have maybe this is the first moment that's like, shouldn't someone be watching this area? That shouldn't have ever been allowed to happen. The horn that you've collected is still like gnawing at the back of your mind. You have no way of really getting more information about that where you're currently at. They had a magical device that has no business and that you never heard of. It feels like a ball might have been dropped, or at least not presented to you as something. And I don't know how Yuri takes that as someone who is deliberately sent here. But, like, somebody didn't brief you properly, is essentially this. It feels like you were ill-prepared to come here in a way that you were a little bit maybe more confident. But more importantly, as you move into this trance, your vision isn't... You're kind of like pseudo dreams, almost your kind of that you have that are almost more theatrical plays than they are, subconscious randomness. Your pseudo dreams, they aren't as they're filled with your family memories, good memories, fond memories of things, but they're now interspersed. There's, for the first time since you've been in the material plane, in your mind, very actively, and you will remember this when you wake, you have your conversation as emotionally fraught as it was in the tree with Fang. You have a conversation with a conversation you had in the hallway in the conjuration tower with Hicks. You have brief flashes of your life here as it's been over the past week or so. And a realization that Hicks might be a little different, but even with the short-lived life of Nhudrel and Fang, your brain is beginning to fold them in a way that I don't think is on purpose, but is natural. You've spent time with these people. You've traveled with these people. Fought with these people. You're developing connections to things that have the survival rate of like a bullfrog in your lifetime, like the longevity of like a hamster, and you're developing connections to these things that are, again, Hicks different, but they're folding in straight, they're popping up in places that you wouldn't necessarily categorize them consciously as things. Not just friendly, not just, in the moment friends, but like meaningful enough to make it to your dream theater in this place, as you kind of easily and have a peaceful and wonderful sleep, like a wonderful trance. All of you, when Yuri wakes up and the morning is beginning to come on, look around, and the handful of trees that you see that are non-conifer, fir trees and everything, the ones that are deciduous, the leaves have begun to turn on them. Oranges and yellows have begun to kind of creep into their foliage, and you can see a few of them have fallen around. And the morning, even though it's not that season, feels almost like a brisk fall morning. And no matter how troubled you would be by your thoughts and your trances or dreams, all of that for Fang and Hicks is almost not so much resolved, but alleviated in the forgetfulness of the dawn. And almost your minds wake up in a sort of centered emptiness, not troubled by the subconscious thoughts immediately of the night before, of your sleeping moments, especially for Fang. or the confusion for Hicks of being like, why is this shouldn't
Why is this dodgy thing here?
yeah, why is this so dodgy? And yeah, you're in the morning. It's morning time. Everybody's slept. Everybody's fully rested. Everybody's had their moment. It's a little bit fall. It's a little bit pumpkin spicy around you, but in the distance, it goes back to being, the existing kind of spring into summer season. Is there? But all of you are very well rested. All of you are very well cared for. Do you break camp and head out immediately? Start continuing back toward Adraen and inevitably the long journey up?
I mean, kind of before anything.
Yeah. Before anything, you can respond. That's what I should say. That's what my next step is. I have nothing from my side for you. Respond. Feel free to add things and stuff like that here in the nighttime / morning.
I mean, I think the most kind of obvious thing is when you wake up, Yurivel's kind of sitting very peacefully and doesn't entirely look the same anymore, as he has entirely wilted into autumn and has not a speck of green nor flora on him, as the leaves have kind of died in some areas while others are like a vibrant orange. And he kind of sits there peacefully, kind of like almost meditating with like wind like lightly trickling around his hair. And one of the weirdest things to notice is even in places there aren't wind, there is an ever-flowing motion of wind just around his hair and
always a little bit of wind.
Here's got gas, constant gas.
Constant. It's crippling IBS.
He's got IBS. Oh. He just toots every now and again, and the leaves go, whew, phew.
Yeah. So, truly, like the briefest of thoughts that, for Yuri, as you're in autumn and you've wilted into autumn and you're all the browns and oranges, the sort of thing. You're like, Byron probably would have liked this. Necromancy Tower would have liked to have seen this. The sort of death and renewal kind of thing. Feels their vibey. But they're long and safely behind you, at least for now. Is there anything else anyone does before you head out on your next day's travel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they obviously will see this, so.
Yeah.
Hicks would
respond
kind
to
of,
that, but yeah.
Yeah, he'd like do the packy uppy thing slowly and then like notice this, because obviously he's semi-colorblind, so he wouldn't have noticed like the change in leaf color around him straight away. But he would then pick up that it's different, so he'd be like, oh, what the fuck? And then he'd look over and see Yuri. And then he'd just kind of put everything he has down and just walk over to him, and I don't know what he's standing, kneeling, whatever. What is he doing?
He is just sat there cross-legged.
Oh, he's sitting. Okay.
Kind of like, yeah, it's like he's still trancing. Like, what's the word? He's decided to continue meditating, even though he's not trancing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then Hicks would like kind of like go down on his knees at the more similar heights, and then he'd just say, "Yuri."
He'd
kind of like
one
wait
eye.
for an answer.
He'd just open one eye, like kind of just look at him for a moment, and then kind of just like bow his head with a nod and a smile.
You do the gesture thing to his body, like, what brought this on? I'm assuming like Hicks knows Eladrins do this. He just doesn't know.
Yeah,
like,
that
what triggered it in Yuri's case, but like he knows they can do this, so he's not like, oh my god, it's a different color. He's just like, what? Yeah.
What was Fang saying before anything?
Fang also packs up, and as she picks up the new giant axe, she like kind of stares at it for a moment, has a bit of a solemn moment until like out of the corner of her eye she sees Hicks walk over to Yuri, and now Yuri is like completely transformed and recalls the conversation that they had in the tree that nature changes and that's normal, so she's not super alarmed, although she's mildly alarmed because he's a completely different color. But she puts the great axe to her back and walks over and crouches next to Hicks. Takes a glance at Hicks's forearms for blood, and it stopped. So she's internally phew, before looking back to Yuri. She's gonna sniff him because he had a specific
latte.
smell. It's chai latte, spices.
That's a boy.
Because that's how she
he-
recognizes him in a crowd. So now that he's a different season, she wonders if he smells different.
I think the best way to describe how he smells is it's basically like cinnamon now.
Told you.
Ooh.
Cinnamon. Okay, it's a cinnamon latte.
Mm-hmm. She's smelling at a proper. She's not in his face or anything. She's like.
Do you know what it is though? It's not just cinnamon. It's like cinnamon with the cinnamon buns with the glazed with the sugary. It's that kind of sugary glaze.
A little drool at the corner of Fang's mouth.
I want to eat. I want to eat the little fairy.
I want to lick him.
No. But yeah, that'd be kind of like a long file. Oh, you can talk. Sorry.
No, she's just sat next to Hicks, looking at Yuri, and quietly observing.
God, I have to actually change now how I act. Yuri would kind of blink for a moment, and then he would kind of look around and go, "My goodness, is something wrong? You're both staring."
Hicks isn't even gonna look like. He's not. He's just gonna give him the blank stare, just answer my damn question kind of stare.
Oh, France, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to alarm you, my dear. Oh, I'm quite fine. Just a change was needed.
Why do you think that?
Well, nothing can be the same forever. It would be unnatural.
He is like leaves on tree. It is the fall, the autumn. No,
The autumn.
season,
She's so
no.
cute. I love her. The autumn.
Autumn. He is like the nature. Beautiful changes. A little alarming, but beautiful. Smells very good. I have bad confession that I want to lick his face.
Because she's gonna look at her like,
what
what?
a shame. He smells very nice.
If it makes you feel quite better, Fang, you are not the first person to proposition to lick me. It's quite all right. I forgive you.
Hicks is just gonna be looking between them what the fuck? Just looking back and forth. What do you mean lick?
He smells very sweet, Hicks.
Just because something smells sweet, you want to lick it?
Yes.
What would you prefer to lick, my dear Hicks? Do tell.
Absolutely nothing right now. Thank you very much. Well, if you don't have a good reason for changing, if nothing's wrong, then I guess we move on.
Unfortunately, a change isn't exactly a controlled matter. It's actually quite involuntary. One changes when their mind deems right. You cannot choose when you change, nor can you choose when the next wind blows.
You autumn Adraen always speak in riddles. It's annoying. He's just gonna kind of get up then and be like, you know what, Fang? Lick him. I'm out.
Fang is also now discovering that his hair is just flowing and she doesn't quite feel a breeze, so she's kind of feeling the atmosphere around him for wind. She has her hands how do I explain this when you can't see me? You take a globe and you hover your hands around it like you're
Yeah.
Yeah, she's trying to feel for the breeze. And she's like, but you have breeze without their breeze.
Apparently I do. And then, interestingly, and it's like the first kind of thing that makes Yuri kind of blink. He's gonna kind of look to Hex, because Hex are quite. I'm
What?
terribly sorry to ask. Why? What season was it last night? Not me. And he's kind of looking at the trees that have wilted into orange, and he actually looks concerned.
Fang looks at
Summer.
Nhudrel, and then Hicks. He's like,
It was summer, right?
Yeah, it's early summer.
Okay.
It's like June northern hemisphere.
The beginning of summer, roundabout.
Yeah.
Okay. He kind of just blinks for a moment,
Nhudrel's-
like trying to kind
Is
of
this
wrap
is
his
this
head around that.
is this not what normally happens for you? Looking at the thing, I just assumed. Like, Nhudrel just sort of gestures at Yuri and then gestures at the trees. That this was all just normal. Starts writing in his notes. Oh, what's going on? Aladrin also confused. Excellent. But yeah, you
Yeah.
Yuri, you're certainly you. I would say that you wouldn't expect this to happen. You change. That's normal. And like, yeah, in the Fey realm, you can do some magic about the environment around you. Like that's not uncommon. But like, this isn't. Yeah, this is a greater extent, and is not dissimilar to sort of something else taking a hand, if you will, maybe. In because of course the books and some of the books had some things that like put in them and everything yeah, there's something's going on. Nothing you can answer in the immediate, but something's weird about this.
Yeah. Yuri, I'd kind of blink a few times, take a deep breath, then kind of smile and goes, "No, that's not meant to happen." Hey, you know of planar matters to an extent, right?
To an extent.
I'm, quite attuned with the wild. There's a potential that I'm, what's the word? Leaking.
Hicks just like
Fang is
raises an eyebrow. Fang's like,
Fang-
and Hicks is like, uh-huh. He's
Fang's
like that,
ears like
he's,
shoot up
he's
and
that
it's like
receptionist that doesn't give a fuck, and he's just like, hurry up.
Fang's
Right.
looking for the leak. Just
Um,
looking for the puddle.
Metaphorical, my dear Fang. No, well, I change with the seasons, but this time I seem to have changed an environment with me. It seems that the magic of the chaotic planes within me, that is imbued by birth, doesn't seem to be boding well with the change whilst not in a chaotic realm.
Hicks, give me an insight or history check. I know that it doesn't matter for those stats for you, but either one.
Insight's much better than history.
Okay, then insight it is. Insight.
Ooh,
Come on,
yeah.
Hick.
A dirty 19.
Yay!
Beautiful. I'm going to
Wonderful.
say this to you now, Hicks, and I'm going to provide no context for it. So, Yama, you want to note this down
Oh, trust me, I have
and
the ready.
be ready to bring
Say
it back
slowly,
up. I'm going to provide. No.
Fucking typed.
I'm just going to say you are in this moment seeing that what Yuri is describing is definitely happening, that they are leaking. just type in the phrase, how many? With a question mark.
Well, how many holes you got in the boat?
No, just that's what I'm giving you now, and
Okay.
I'm seeding this for later. But Hicks, you have the thought, how many? And it's almost like the thought is there, like you're beginning to form a question in your mind while Yuri's telling you this, Hicks. And then it's like you lose it and are immediately redistracted with what you are observing, what Yuri's talking about. But your brain starts to form the phrase how many something, and then that's where it ends. This is not something you've seen before. You've never heard of like someone coming in from another plane and like leaking into the material realm. You're not like an expert in that though. You're not like a professor of planar travel. You just sort of
Nope.
have your personal experience and the knowledge you've happened to pick up. But you've never heard of anything like this before.
You think you're leaking, as you said.
Well, I don't quite know the technical term for it, but maybe.
So the chaotic magic from the Feywilds is seeping into the material plane through you somehow.
Well, I don't know if I'm acting as a portal, as it were. I don't think it's like that. I think it's more, well, I am, made of chaotic energy. And, we've been doing things, and I've been using slightly more powerful magic. Maybe that power is growing somewhat, and I don't know how to control that.
So you're bringing the energy to the material plane without knowing how to control it. Interesting. Come here. And he's gonna try like
Oh.
lead Yuri to like where
Nice.
it's green still, and he's gonna like usher him to go stand where it's green, and he wants to see if it turns to like autumn colors.
Oh.
Assuming Yuri follows along with Higgs,
Just quite casually.
when you go to a spring area, like the spring summer area, nothing changes while you're standing here. There's no new updates. You don't like a trail of this doesn't follow you. This isn't the PS2 classic Akami, where you have like a trail of things. Um, uh, Following you. Like, yeah, you're still fall. The zone that you were in, that you rested in and spent some time in, definitely notes of fall, notes of autumn. But the moment you step out of it, you're back in the regular, late spring, early summer sunshine.
And does the full area turn?
Fall
back to
area
summer?
stays like it is.
Well, maybe it's a once-off occasion when you seem to change seasons. But I guess we will see that over time.
Oh.
So do you think this will be fixed if you go home?
I mean, that's not me. There words, Yuri's kind of just squinting for a moment, like not squinting. He just kind of thinking peacefully. There we go, different character now. Well, truthfully, I think it's different if I'm at home because I'm also thinking words in my head. Where I live here, or where my family's home is, the forest is enchanted to change with Naladrin's season. If I walked through now, the very forest itself would change. And maybe that has something to do with it. But I think you're right in the fact that it's not constant. But speaking of uncontrolled magic, all of your books with uncontrolled writing that I did not place in there.
Do you think there will be updates in them then?
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I don't think this is the first time I've leaked. I feel like I've gone for a piss everywhere now.
First
Well-
time you've wet the bed.
Yeah. Oh, I leaked again.
Always happens at night.
But yes, it seems especially when I'm trancing, that these surges seems to happen.
Do you think this has anything to do with that broken horn that we found?
Ah, if only I was Spring Yuri, the jokes I could make about a broken horn. Instead, he will smile and go, "I don't think so." I mean, admittedly, all of my siblings, well, my 2 siblings, do have magical auras around them, but I never developed one. Maybe it's developing.
Developing, but you don't have control over it.
Yes, maybe I'd have more control if I was at home, but none of them developed outside of the Feywild.
And
Or at
what does
least
this mean
chaotic.
for us?
I have no idea. It's chaotic
Puberty.
magic.
Oh my god, I'm gonna send you. You try anything funny, I'm going to send your soul straight to hell, little boy. You're just like, yeah, sure, whatever.
Sounds like puber.
Puberty.
She stares at Nhudrel. Not the right word.
Nhudrel's like
Pubes.
Nhudrel just sits there, hears Fang say that, obviously almost starts to say something, and then corrects himself because that's always a weird question to ask anyone. And Nhudrel's like, "No, I'm not gonna follow up on the puberty thing. That's not for me to. That doesn't need to be in my notebook."
You're just gonna look over it and say, "Fang, I'm really sorry. Why are we discussing pubes?"
He's just gonna like leave the conversation.
Yeah,
just go
Nhudrel
back
just
to
starts packing camp.
up his stuff. He's just like, okay, I'm out.
The moment
Like-
pubes are
like-
mentioned.
Pubes? But it isn't puber. Adolescent change.
I love how she can say adolescent, but not puberty.
I know. Adolescent.
Oh,
He works harder on the multi-syllable words than she does. Like, actually, no, they have the same syllables. Never mind. I can't justify why adolescence was a better word for
Because there's a
puberty.
0% chance that Nhudrel wouldn't have used the word adolescence repeatedly to describe young people. So that's a word you're more familiar with in common. But puberty, why would Nhudrel bring up the word puberty very frequently?
Thank you.
There you go. Every explanation that is Fang's sort of like common tongue mix-em-ups is, what words does Nhudrel use more often when talking around Fang, if not directly at Fang or to Fang? And how would a nerd phrase it versus, like a normal person?
Yeah, there we go.
They'll just be random words that are very fancy that you know. Like
Instead
poussant.
vernacular.
You know, poussant.
What's up? Ooh. I think she would stop at poo. Ooh.
right. What?
Poo.
Okay, so you said adolescence. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, adolescent change.
Yuri will blink for a moment and go, "Oh, no, I can tell you quite confidently. I experienced that a very long time ago. No, it's not that. I don't know what it is, but it's not that. I mean, naturally it's slightly different now because I'm different, but I do quite regret ignoring all of my lessons." And you're kind of like squinting off in the distance, like, if only I listened to everything my granddad ever told me. And he's kind of just staring into the distance.
That hindsight wisdom that every adult has about, like, I made choices back then, and those were not necessarily good, and I did not take advantage of situations. Like, there was lots of missed opportunities and poorly spent choices.
Yeah,
Thing is,
I
just trying to stare in the direction that Yuri is for like, what? What are we looking for?
At this point, Nhudrel and Hicks have successfully fully packed up the camp. Like, all right.
They're now just busying themselves so they don't have to get roped back into the conversation.
About pubes.
Yep.
Are we going?
yes. I mean, I don't think there's anything we can do about this now. Here's hoping I don't explode. That was a joke, just to say beforehand. I wouldn't want to cause you stress, Hicks.
He's just gonna like look at him and then just be like, carry on doing whatever he was doing.
2 seconds later, Yuri just violently combusts into flames.
Hicks is like, I don't trust you for a second on that, but whatever makes you sleep better.
Hicks just goes, oh, is he summer now?
Will you please? Let's go with Yama. Yama, give me a D20 roll, please, as you travel on your day 2 of adventuring. Returning back to
I got an 11.
11.
Double digits.
All of you are walking up.
And conveniently just explode.
Oh, I suppose I should have you do this.
Oh my god, I thought I was gonna say, I suppose that's actually a good idea, and I was like,
That's
oh
a
no!
great idea. All of you pop like an episode of The Boys. Heads just pop. So you all are traveling north along the waterfront to where you've been. The first half of your day is pretty normal. But as you get to sort of again, the tree cover here isn't super dense. You wouldn't ever call this like a forest. It's more of like endless glade where there's a good amount of scattered trees, but there's plenty of gaps in the tree line and everything. You see a procession off in the distance, far away. They have not seen you. A procession of similarly robed figures. They're all humanoids. They're all somewhere in the kind of average humanoid size, so you're not like seeing any kind of halflings or dwarves or children in the mix. There's about 10 of them, and they're all in these sort of like light cream, almost white, but not perfectly white, kind of off-white to cream, sort of friar robes, essentially, with their hoods up, walking in a single file line, and they are walking in the same direction as you, roughly north, kind of along nearby the coastline of the Wounding Sea.
There's always something about people dressed in white robes that gives me the creeps.
Usually.
He says as he's also wearing a
can't say
white a white cloak. Hicks also wears a white cloak, but that's funny.
Fang's just kind of looking at his cloak and just doesn't say anything. It's like,
But I mean, fair enough. He's a shadow guy, He's kind of like, fair enough. Okay, now those are.
Yeah.
How far away are they? About?
Several hundred feet at this point. They don't
Okay.
seem to. Their backs are to you. They don't seem to have noticed you at all or anything like that. They all just seem to be. They're not like marching. They are walking deliberately, but not like rapidly, right? Like they just seem to be moving through. Similarly to you all, they're just moving through the wood. They aren't carrying any sort of packs. There are no animals with them. There's no wagon, and they are kind of uniquely in like sort of a single file line, even though they don't need to. They could be walking in a crowd just as easily.
And they are walking like coastliney Same as us.
Like near-ish the coast, right? Like you're not necessarily walking along the beach line.
Yeah, they just like coast. Yeah,
But
coastline.
like you can easily look to your left as you travel north and see water through the trees. Like you're not far off from it. Yeah.
Do any of us, I guess, recognize the robes or anything?
Give me a religion check.
I mean, they
I'm
are
gonna
really far away, but I guess.
Yeah, everyone can give me a religion check. DCs are a little different for each of you because of your respective backgrounds, but
My religion's shit. Where is religion? Aren't they?
$5 foot long.
That was gonna be an 18, and then it bounced. That's a 3. So yeah, can't see shit.
Oh,
Yuri.
yeah, you can roll religion
Trying to
about
find the
this,
button,
Yuri,
I'm
but it's a
having-
different journey for you.
Wow, I got an 18.
All right.
Yay, someone rolled well.
Yuri, you don't
Yay.
recognize the robes. At first, you're like, oh, that's strange. Bunch of people in kind of like light cream, like off-white kind of robes. Those typical kind of monastic sort of things. Until you are like the way the light hits it or something, a little bit gleams off of the back of one of the robes, and you, Yuri, recognize a symbol. It is a symbol of someone that you are not familiar with directly, nor is your family familiar with directly, but is a symbol of someone that's on, like, we'll call it the other edge of a plane. Not technically part of the same plane, but sort of part of the same plane. If there was, like, say, a land bridge between planes, right? Kind of things in this conceptual thing. You recognize the robe of a celestial entity named Bor, B-O-R.
H-O-R or B-O-R?
B-O-R. I'm not giving you a
Biscuits.
celestial entity named Whore. That's not happening.
Aw.
I'm not giving that gift to you.
damn.
Um,
Darn.
What do I know about Hall?
Bor is
Bore. Thank.
Bor is like an sort of, as far as you know, they're in the same sort of loose category of like angelic god type beings. They have worshippers on the material plane, you know that much. You've only really read about them. They don't interface with the categories of sort of the angelic celestial that like your family has interfaced. It's almost like if everything about your background, Yuri, was summed up in like Greek lore, Bor would be like the Roman interpretation of that, where it's similar but different, and it feels like it's connected, but it's definitely a physically different location and everything. But it doesn't not overlap. There is connective tissue in the sort of
So-
complicated, cosmography of this sort of planes. This is something that is sort of adjacent and to the side, if you will.
Okay. Like in simple terms, I'm guessing, like because of what you said, chaotic good vibes. But like, what are they the god of?
As far as you can recall, because you got an 18, that's a pretty good religion roll. As far as you can recall, they are the god of mercy, tears, and relief, is what they tend to be associated with.
Oh god, they're literally the god of crying after sex. Sorry.
Lucy after 6. Wow, sheesh.
Oh, I didn't.
Damn, Yuri.
My brain didn't clock
That's
that bit.
that's
You
just
know what?
aftercare.
It's-
That's just aftercare. That's what mercy
Damn.
after sex is. It's aftercare.
Damn, Yuri, damn.
Look,
Well, at least we know what he's into now.
a good time.
It's just a good time.
A good time. What we Oh, you
God of
Good
mercy
grief.
after 6. That's what.
God of mercy, okay. Yes. Yuri would look over and kind of blink, goes, how strange. That's a religious group for Ball. I wonder what they're doing here.
They worship pigs.
That would be how
No,
you would perceive it.
that's a different god. Actually, I do know of those that they are fun, but no, different people.
Oh, but a boar is a big.
But a boar can also be a boring person.
Who are these people then?
Um, um,
Worth our time or not?
well,
You don't know
they're the
much about like the actual like worshippers. Your knowledge is purely like passingly academic about like you know that there is a boar, that they are real, that they do have people that worship them, that they fashion themselves a god, which in the rules of sort of religion, they meet all the briefs for that. They do things that the people who worship them can't do for the people who worship them. It's the mortal plane, material plane concept of godhood is pretty loose in your opinion. It's pretty shoddy. It's sort of like the Mormon version of a Latter-day Saint. Where it's like, cool, you call yourself that. Awesome. No one like anointed you to that. That was just a personal label. And so I don't know if Yuri would perceive them in the same sort of godly context as if Yuri was to name other gods that Yuri's like, this is a god. This is a real fucking god. But yeah, they are definitely not like mortal. They're not from the material plane. And they seem pretty apt to their name. They seem pretty uninteresting as far as Yuri is academically and Boar. You don't know anything about their followers. So why would you? They're unrelated to anything you would ever interface with, for the most part.
yeah, okay. Yuri would just look over and go, well, from what I would assume, granted, theirs is a god of mercy, tears, and relief. They are probably trying to grant something mercy or relief, which actually sounds quite dark. Point being, it might be interesting in providing mercy to something potentially, but I wouldn't consider them a threat. If anything, they might be potential allies. Or no harm in going to have a look, is there?
They walk the same way as us and we catch up then? Okay, that's fine.
Very
If they
well.
clock
Well, they
us,
are
we'll
walking
clock
in our
them.
direction.
Oh, they're walking at us?
No,
Oh,
no, they're
no.
walking the same way as we are. Hex is basically like,
Okay.
okay, if we catch up to them and they don't veer off before we get there, then sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fang's
then I
done with that
guess we
plan.
continue going.
Yeah, so if you continue heading their way, you will eventually catch up to them. It takes about honestly, you're not moving at a much faster clip than them. So it takes a little bit for you to get up to them. But as you approach, and make noise, are you trying to be stealthy at all, or are you just kind of walking?
Walking?
Yeah, I guess like before they get like too close,
Mhm.
Hicks would kind of want to suss them out again. Probably from like, I don't know, 100 odd foot away.
Yeah, give me a perception check on them.
We will try.
Fang's gonna sniff
Oh,
check.
that was nearly a fucking
Yeah, you
20
can all do
again. Fuck
perception
you,
checks
die.
on them.
You got a 16.
Fang also got a 16.
Yay,
got a
16
10.
crew.
10.
16.
You don't see any weapons apparent on them. It is a little strange that they don't have any kind of wagon or any kind of like containers. They're not carrying any packs. They do have pouches sort of dangling from like hempen rope belts and things. So they do have some semblance of supplies. As you get closer, you can see that, down by their feet, their robes are a little bit dirty, right? Because they've been traveling and everything. They do all seem to be, adult humanoids. You can't really tell their features too much at this distance because they've got their hoods up and everything. They are moving quiet in silence in the way that nobody's talking. Nobody's muttering any sort of prayers and everything. You do now spot it's very light in the daylight, and so it dissipated at a distance to the thing where you agree. In. The person at the very front of this line, the only different signifier of them beside the symbol of boar, which the symbol of boar is sort of like, the Eye of Isis kind of thing. Take that, but make the curly Q point down like it's a teardrop. And everything off the outside of the eye shape. But you do see that the person in the front is holding like one of those like old school Roman Catholic Church like incense danglies, like censer danglies. And and it's gently burning some sort of oil that's releasing a little bit of smoke and a white smoke into the air. Um, but uh, it's not significant, and they're just kind of holding it out in front of them, almost like you would hold a lantern at night. They're not like saying any words or anything like that. They're just walking forward. You can even smell a little bit of it on the air, and it probably smells a little bit of citrus.
Wait, is it a strong smell?
The
Very
Bunsen
slight,
burner, they're keeping
very,
away the mosquitoes.
very slight smell, like very minor, not overpowering at all. So in that way, not like a Catholic church where they have that fucking smoke bomb that they they walk through.
Okay.
Any idea how this religious group got here? Do you think they came through a portal?
But I don't think so.
No, they read very material plane to you. You would know, Yuri,
Yeah,
that as far as you've read, there are worshippers of Boar on the material plane.
Yeah, that's yeah. It's just like I think they're just normal worshippers of Hicks. Most religions have worshippers here, I believe.
He just kind of like nod, like, okay. He doesn't really like care too much for other people's religions. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Do you want to then go and greet them or something? You
Very
said
well.
that you think they could be allies, or
Could be, could not be. It's always hard to tell which way the leaf will land. But
You, Autumn Aladrin. Your leaf
I'm
gonna drive Hicks insane. The riddles, because he's never gonna get to the point, and Hicks is just gonna be like, I want to kill you. More so than I wanted to kill the spring one.
It's like the spring one's annoying, but you're worse somehow.
You're worse. Give me the spring one back.
Just someone make him angry, punch him in the face. Someone change him. Yuri will just kind of very like casually kind of like open his palms as his entire body will change into a wood elf again, but this time with the amber eyes. And he'll kind of just, walk forward and kind of do a polite, hello?
Hicks will like stay at the back with his hood up, because I mean, if these are religious people from semi-interplanar, blah blah blah, he's a Sharakai. It's probably not going to be very welcome, so he's going to stay at the back.
What's done with me? I don't want to be alone. It's scary.
Fang like squares up bigger and like is simultaneously trying to hide Hicks, but at the same time like be upfront with Yuri. As like, I am big muscle. Don't fuck with my friends.
So give me just.
Hi.
That out. So, the group, when you say hello, like not simultaneously, but like coordinatedly stop walking when you give them and looks and pauses, and when you now see all of their faces, you just see a kind of a variety of like there's men and women in there. There's a couple of them have like facial hair. Some of them are a little bit older, some of them are a little bit younger. This is a mix of humans and half elves. um and they look at you, and they look at your group, and one of them's just like, oh, Uh, hi there. Well met, friend. My name is. Are you travelers on the road with us?
Yuri's kind of gonna do like that, like a very slow head to, and then give like a very polite smile. Yes, naturally. May I inquire what followers of Thor are doing here?
Ah, you know about the leader that we have. Yes, our Lord of Mercy, Bor. Good to see a man of
Mm-hmm.
letters and knowledge. Yes, we're making our pilgrimage. We're making our pilgrimage north to Wylian, where his temple sits, and of course, or actually, no, I don't think Yuri knows much about Wylian. Only Fang and Hicks both know Wylian's like, and especially in Hicks's mind, of course, a boring god's named Bor would have a temple in a cold, barony,
Boring.
fucking terrible place like Wylian. Yeah. So we're heading that way. Are you also heading north to Wylian on a sojourn or pilgrimage?
Um, admitted, admittedly, no, more of a wanderer trying to find a way. Um, may I ask what awaits you at the end of your pilgrimage? I do know of Bor and, his
Uh,
ways, but I don't know much of the pilgrimage itself.
all followers of Bor have to first aggregate together in our small, I guess folk would call them churches, even though they have no housing or building for them. Then we don the traveler's clothes and imitate the journey that Bor themselves took uh, northward along this place to the northernmost tip of the land here, where he then settled, or sorry, they then settled for ages of time, um, giving knowledge and giving respite and mercy to all who had suffered in the land south of them. A North
Uh-huh.
Star on the ground, if you will. And we emulate this
Okay.
journey to understand what our Father and Lord went through before we are truly allowed to spread His word and spread a life of mercy and a
Uh-huh.
care for others.
It kind of like nodded a few times, like 3 words went in, but he's still very politely smiling. Um, I see. You're not. You haven't, been seeking to provide relief to the people struggling with the recent rift.
Oh, you mean the storm? We are not.
Yes.
I mean, for those that we've come across, certainly we've offered what water and what food we've had, but we are not officially. We have not gone through the ceremonies to be gifted the abilities that would allow us to provide true help to them.
Uh-huh.
Give me a stealth check, by the way, Hicks.
No,
No.
what are you doing, young
No.
man?
I'm not doing anything. I'm trying to hide behind Fang. Watch me get like a 1. Oh, can I
I'm
get a
trying to hide
14?
Hicks with her giantness.
I got a 14.
That passes the DC 11. You're fine.
Woo!
As they have their conversation. Uh, the followers look at you and it's like, well, if you're wandering and you ever find yourself in Wylian, the primary temple is up there at the very tip, the furthest north of land that you could reach. Not even land; it's ice. In truth, um, and you can find a piece there, and grace for all things that you've done in your life through Boar, all things that you regret, all things that you feel like went the wrong way. That is our nature. Um, you're welcome to travel with us if you so choose. We don't see a lot of people traveling off the main road now, but they just sort of look at you placidly.
Uh, um,
Hicks is just gonna kind of try and get Yuri's attention and then give like a little like head nod, like just let's go.
I am sure if the path is right, I will find my way there.
Hmm.
He's kind of like smiling politely, but he's doing like that awkward smile when he's like,
They're like,
"Can I go?" it's like, okay. Yeah, okay. Like he's doing that thing where it's like, you know, when you really want to leave someone's house,
Yeah.
but they've not like.
all right. Well, hopefully you all find your way. But remember, the path you choose is the steps you decide to take in the directions you go in. You don't
That is very
find yourself
factual.
somewhere. You choose to walk in a direction.
That's Yuri's face kind of twitches at that because it's kind of like it still very much argues the fundamentals of a Fang, and he's
Exactly.
he kind of just like starts face twitching slightly as he tries to keep up a smile.
They said
Yes.
their temple church or whatever it was like all the way in the north.
Primary
right?
temple,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I can place it on Hicks's map. It's on the mainland still, right?
Yeah, so on the map, if you're looking at the map, you can't see it in the map. So there's Wylian, and then there's that big river that kind of goes goes from the mountains.
Just above that.
And you see the Bear Claw. Way above that is the northernmost tip of Wylian, and then from there is an ice glacier shelf that continues to expand out. That is not actually land; it's just ice. And then at the edge of that is it. It from here. It will be easily 2 to 3 months travel. This is the kind of thing that you need to pick when you start your journey, because if you get caught in like the fall or God forbid the winter in Wylian, you're just gonna die of exposure. You're just gonna die.
So how? Okay.
Very Russia.
So in relation to Hicks's experience in Wylian,
Hicks's experience in Wylian would be the area that's pretty much on the map, like right close-ish to the river. I don't even know if Hicks would have gone to the. There's like a one little like city icon in kind of the north of it, like almost dead center north of the map. Has like a little
I'm
city.
assuming
I don't even
he
think
would
Hicks has
probably
gone there.
go more to like, is that like a little the little churchy one?
Yeah, those
on the
little
right?
those little Colosseum-y things. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the churchy one on the river. Yeah. That would be about as far north as Hicks would have ever had to go. People don't usually go to Wylian's capital if they don't live in Wylian. It's too fucking cold. It's cold and it's unnecessary. So unless there is a very specific reason. Yeah. No, Hicks wouldn't have gone to that. Definitely no further north than the church tower.
Little churchy thing.
Which is not a church of Boar or a chapel of Boar.
Yeah, it's probably like a teeny tiny little like
Yeah.
village. I'd assume.
So
Yeah, the last thing Yuri will just ask though is you go, sorry to inquire, have you seen anything odd on your travels at all?
oh, absolutely. Out on the far western tip of the synod here, out on the far western tip, as the Wounding Sea opens out into the Mistress, we've seen a pretty hazardous whirlpool started spinning up there.
Oh
You can
no.
literally see it from the coast. Um, it seems ships can avoid it if they're crafty and know that they're going to run into it, but the reckless will sink into it. It's hard to see. You can't see the bottom of it, but yeah, a large whirlpool opened up out that way. Just kind of where the Mistress meets the Wounding Sea.
And you don't happen to have heard if there's any water elemental sightings near that?
Water elemental,
Uh-huh.
like a creature of water, is what you're saying. No, but some
Like
folk have seen that they've
elemental?
seen large ropey like tentacles coming out and around
Oh,
the
good.
abyss.
Oh, that's
Ropey tentacles.
right. I see.
I use the word
I
ropey as a bait, and I know it, and I'm ashamed of it. Uh, ropey.
Calamari. Fang. Fang, lure the big creepy creature out into like the desert or something, and then it just dies.
You might need to know
Ah,
the name of that exact monster. We need to like find out the name of whatever it is,
Yeah,
and then
find
be
the
like,
name.
right, Barry, come here.
Barry.
get over here!
Yes, make some calamari.
Yeah, he
He
would
opens
just
his
ask.
arm to catch it.
Okay, so that's a whirlpool. Is it just the whirlpool you've seen strange? Nothing else.
I mean, obviously the storm that was happening over Neapolis down there, but seems like that's cleared itself up.
Okay, and your travel from there has been fine. Nothing odd.
I mean, no, nothing that shouldn't be around. Like, there's the occasional danger. There's wolves, things like that, but nothing out of the ordinary. Whirlpool, storm, that seemed enough, honestly, for journey. I'm happy that it's cleared up.
uh, Yuri kind of he kind of like starts the like beginning of like you're welcome, and then kind of just stops himself, and then he's just like, mm-hmm. I'm going to go. Lovely talking. A wonderful pilgrimage. Bye. And he's just going to turn and start walking before they keep droning on, because he's finding like he's starting to struggle as like who Yuri is with someone who talks like in that kind of like long, even like as an autumn, he's like, oh my god, I need to leave.
Fucking Jesus,
He's kind of
guys.
just like does a power walk
Learn
away.
how to
Crazy
speak
religious
in a
fanatic
cadence.
freaks.
Stop speaking at me in Pennsylvania Dutch. It's fucking terrible. Do you all kind of follow off with Yuri when Yuri extricates himself? Do any of you
Oh, yeah.
ask these religious procession? I'm gonna need one more stealth check from Hicks. Again, it's a DC 11, so you have a good.
Come on, Hicks. Please
Did
don't
he
roll
have it that
badly.
should be
Oh, fuck.
with Fang, like-
We rolled badly.
Yeah,
Oh.
what's Fang doing?
Well, she's like sizing up so he can like be a bit more hidden.
All right, I'll give that as a help action. Roll again, Hicks.
One Hicks, you're meant to be good at this.
No.
Oh, and everybody add like their 2 temporary hit points. Oh, that's
Not an 11.
That's not an 11.
As you
Fuck.
walk off, and you're kind of ahead of them now. Hey, friends,
Hmm?
friends.
Yes.
We didn't have a chance to exchange names. My name's Bobbert.
If you say
What's
Robert, I'm gonna punch
Robert.
him.
my name's
If he is
Bobbert.
Robert.
Robert,
Yeah,
Robert.
just Bobbert. You can call me Bob. Um. What's your all's names? Where y'all coming from?
You're just gonna try and keep quiet and just like not look back.
Yuri's gonna turn and kind of look with a very polite smile and go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Are you not aware of Wood Elven culture? It's quite rude to ask my name, I have to confess. I'm a bit taken back. I'm sure you didn't know. I don't feel comfortable giving that to a stranger. That's a gift and a blessing for my people, for my tribe."
Oh, okay. All right. It's your friend there, the one who hasn't talked, that's been tucked under their hood. They
He is
okay? They need
also
any
an
help?
elf. They are
He's-
more than fine.
Fang gets a little
Again,
aggressive. She's like, he's fine.
That's, it's a little bit invasive. I do understand you're a god of mercy, but
All right. All right,
mercy
just
has
asking.
patience.
Thank God he's not bleeding
very
from his
shy.
arms anymore.
Okay, goodbye now.
All right.
Turn again. It's like, I swear to God, they turn around one more time and go put them to sleep.
You so as you extricate yourself from them and just move at a slightly quicker pace to gain some distance on them, uh, uh, Yuri may not know, Fang may not know this, and you don't know this for certain, Hicks. But I feel like you know well enough. There's an unlikelihood that that someone who at least proclaims to be a god of mercy and like grace and like forgiveness and tears is gonna be super chill about a Shadarkai just kicking around. And you don't know if they know who you are or what you do, or if there's like myths around you, or if maybe there's folk tales or something in their religion. But playing it safe probably the best thing, and just something at the back of your head just says, "Yeah, yeah, it was good that they didn't really see who I was or what I was. That was
Yeah,
the best."
I did good.
As as the GM reveal to you, yeah, if they had seen, I specifically put the religious order in there to be like, they're not gonna like Hicks. They're going to be very upset that Hicks is around, but you did your job. You hid yourself from potentially like no, and they are just normal people right now.
Right now. Oh,
Until they
Yeah.
go through their
God.
journey. They do have a journey to go on, a sojourn to go on, and then they do have the ceremonies performed on them so that they can truly spread
Hicks turns
the
around
word
and
of
goes, right,
Thor.
genocide them all now before they become a problem.
Gonna nuke him.
Yuri,
Nuke
you're the
'em.
bomb. Yeah, once we're away from the others, Yuri would kind of like go, he would kind of go, just politely smile and go, so I've, interesting news. It appears we may have another rift opening up.
Didn't they? Would they have heard the conversation? Because I mean, they were there.
Yeah, no one
They
was
just
being
weren't
super
like
quiet. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I thought they were like hiding back a bit. That's my bad.
No, only Hicks was just kind of like standing behind someone, kind of thing. Like he was
Okay,
still there listening, but he was like behind. He didn't
Yeah,
want to
then
like
Yuri
be like,
just
"I pulled
worded it.
you."
Yeah, just reword it and be like, oh, so potential rift to the plane of water.
And we just left the synod.
I mean,
Can Fang swim? I feel like can Fang
yeah,
swim?
you're
I
literally
feel like Fang can
you
swim.
get swim speed because of your subclass.
Also,
Oh yeah,
You are literally
Fang is
you're the
great
best.
swimmer.
also your ability to swim, like everyone can. Well, unless you make it that your character doesn't know how to swim, everyone knows how to swim. They just move at half speed. Fang is just very good at swimming.
I believe you can also fight underwater fine, Fang. So
Yep.
you are literally like the best underwater fighter out of anyone here.
Yep.
Probably Nhudrel might, because
I don't know.
Oh, he's a frog, eh?
Velkin.
I don't know if Adraen can get any things for.
Yeah, let me take a look, because I also don't know if they have a swim speed.
Because they get a lot, and I'm not sure if that's one of them. They do get a lot,
Yeah.
but that's because they're bold and got a weird nose. So they gave them the nice things to be playable.
Bold and a Voldemort nose. They got a swim speed to make them feel better.
They can breathe underwater, but they don't have anything for actually using
Yeah.
weapons.
Yeah, so they'd be they'd have all the like normal I'm fighting underwater
Oh.
disadvantages.
Oh, they absorb oxygen through their skin. Jesus, they really are frogs. Oh god, we're gonna have to just no one put like him in like a slightly poisonous fog cloud. He will absolutely die.
Oh,
Poison frog.
Yeah, no, he has nothing
protect
for
our
that.
frog.
He can just breathe. And I believe Fang, you just get full underwater breathing because you can have gills later on with your stuff.
Yep.
Fang, you're gonna get gills at one point. Have fun.
Oh,
Gonna be
joy.
a guppy. Guppy.
Yeah, at level 6, Fang, you get basically
I
full
become a
underwater
guppy?
shit. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Fang's gonna be Ariel.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, with the hair flick.
Oh my god, we got a Disney princess in our party.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, but her hair is so thick. Imagine just like one of us getting tangled in the back of like a Fang's hair. It's like,
Yuri tries to hold on
Yuri
Fang for
taking
like
a
a free
nap.
ride, and then he just gets like choked by her.
He's taking a nap and then he gets tangled up in her hair.
Oh.
Oh.
But yeah, so you
Well,
know there's a
got
whirlpool.
the choice. Yeah, you've got the
Boy.
choice. Do you want to go back and see this whirlpool, or do you want to carry on to the capital first?
I mean, whereabouts is this whirlpool again?
All right, so
Further
Middle
south
made a meet
than
something.
we just were.
in
Further south and
in the channel
west.
that has game visuals under campaign resources. The big map isn't there. Oh, because you don't know the big map because you don't know
it's only
the
Hicks
area.
that knows it. Only
the,
Hicks knows the big map,
the
so he'd have to explain to them where it is.
the way
show them.
It,
Can
essentially
you show us so I can see the big map, please?
essentially from where you are now, the area of the whirlpool is very west and a little bit south along sort of like an ongoing kind of trailing bit of landmass on the south end of the Wounding Sea. On the flip side, going to the capital is putting you going around the Wounding Sea to the top side of it, and you could, in theory, get to roughly the same area if you just keep going west from the capital and a little south. Let me give you the pop the map in now. Let's say you've had enough time to kind of show it.
Yeah, Hicks would have been like, where's this thing they're talking about? Hicks would be like, bring out his
here.
map. It's over here.
I forgot that like half of you just didn't have an idea of what the actual space looked like. And so
I had a crayon map.
you can see where the canal from the Mistress to the Wounding Sea goes in. Right where that ship icon is, that's about where the whirlpool is. The capital, you are currently you're probably currently right around the H, a little above the H in the phrase the Octatic Synod, right on the southern/eastern coast of the Wounding Sea. And then you're traveling north to Adraen. The first little town right along that river that kind of connects to the Wounding Sea, kind of north of north of the little dotted line. That's Southgate. That's where you were. And then you traveled all the way to just above the big Neapolis population to where the Crest Arcana was. And so this is what the world has looked like that you've been traveling in. And now we can
just
say
been
there's
walking
been
around on
enough
this map knowing exactly what's going on, and everyone else is like, what the fuck?
Nhudrel's also had this map. Nhudrel also knew what this looked like. It was your first day when you got there, so
Yuri probably does not know how to read a map. He'd look at it and be like, "That's nice."
But
Hicks just pointed like, "We're here," and this is where they were talking about.
Yeah, and so
and if we stay here for 5 more minutes, are we still here? Yes.
But yeah, and so the capital. You see where the under the Kingdom of Adraen text, you see that there's like a little lake body of water that's sort of near the Wounding Sea, and there's a big icon, like big city icon and little icon. The big city icon is where the current capital is, and so you could, in theory, go up to the capital and then swing your way down and go to the same rough situation. You just would no longer be in Synod governed country. You'd be in a Adraen governed country.
Which might be a bit safer considering we're probably some form of fugitive.
Yeah. And so it might.
We also did save them.
Yeah, but we also destroyed
You
stuff.
have allies. You just also have people
want
that
to
might be
murder us,
very mad
probably.
at you. It's a mix.
Yeah.
It's a blend. But yeah, if you open it up in a browser so that you can really zoom in on the map, and everything, you're just above like the HE of the Octatic Synod, sort of right on the coast.
I guess if we go up as well, we could always, because we'll have to pass it no matter what. We can see what's happened at Southgate. We don't have to go in, but we can get
Yeah.
we can get a peeky.
You can go see what he caused.
But yeah, I don't know. What's that little rune on the island? The ruin.
That's
on
the
island?
old capital.
Yeah, that is the old capital. That is in the that closer map is in the shared thing.
Yeah.
That's what that is. So that's the ruined capital. Something bad happened there.
Who's Charlie?
Are you talking about Charlie's home? You don't know who
Yeah.
Charlie is. You don't know who Charlie is.
Oh, I bet he's a right weirdo.
We can stop at all those places if we go blah, 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 around to the
Yeah.
capital.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go as well on that way. Just pointing it out now before I forget. I want to go where that very conspicuous pile of pink trees are in the forest.
What could those be?
I
don't know
weird
why-
feeling about that.
I don't know why you would think that that's a conspicuous section of magical trees there or something.
Okay, but would they know that's there? Because
So Hicks, with your time in Brembley, which I think is kind of like an area that you've spent, and the capital, Brembley's the little town south of the Pink Tree Grove. With your time in Brembley, and then the capital, you know about that wood. I don't think that you know. I put that there for the players to see. That's like, hey, there's something interesting in this wood if you want to go there. That's not like a known thing. There's no reason to there's no like lore connected around that. That's for the players to see. Not so much the characters. The characters just know that as the woods north of Brembley.
Well, when we're near that forest, just for future reference, is it like the kind of thing where you can see in the forest overcast that there's like a random pink fucking section in like the
depending on the set of circumstances, yes, you'll be able to visually see.
But then wouldn't Hicks have seen it before? Because he's been in.
You've not been in the
like,
circumstances to see that.
Not in it though, but he's been in Brimley.
Yeah, he's been in
and
Brembley.
He's been in the
and there, but for you on all maps, on all descriptions of that area, that is just forest. When your players get there, there will be visual differences, but there will be a scenario of circumstances that require it. But yes, that is real to what happens if you were to go there now, kind of thing.
Let's go to the pink trees.
Yeah.
Well, we're going that way.
We're first going Charlie's house.
Charlie's home.
I don't want to go to Charlie's house.
Well, listen, we need to stop along the way. We can't just march for however many fucking days we'll die.
Well, we can march to Southgate first.
Yes.
Yeah, Southgate first, and then those
and then
as
Charlie's,
you might imagine,
maybe.
there's like the watchtowers, right, that you kind of see along the main road.
Yeah.
And those are
Woods
not
Edge.
just simply watchtowers. There's stuff there. There's like a little bit of stuff there. There's
Oh my
Woods
God,
Edge,
it's gonna
which
take
is a
8
town.
years.
You don't have to hit all these places. I just populated the map. This is an open world
No, I like
game.
it. It's nice.
Where,
No, we
where
like
it's
we like exploring shit.
yeah,
That's half the problem.
But yeah, that's also why though, whenever I start a campaign and people are like, "Let's do the world," I'm like, "Let's do a region," because enough stuff. This might be like Baldur's Gate, where enough stuff is happening densely that you don't really go thousands of miles. Your journey just is in this zone and amongst these.
I also see a pink
countries.
tree above Wood's Edge. There's a pink
Yeah, I know.
tree
Yep, there
and a
is one
little
pink tree.
building in the forest.
Yep, there's
Maybe
ruins
that
in
would
the
tell us
forest
more
there.
about the other pink trees.
It
because we'll
possibly
see that
could.
first
It might have been
away.
seeded.
I mean,
specifically
stopping
there.
at Wood's Edge would be a good idea because it's just before the forest.
Yep.
So you would stop
I mean-
there, rest up, blah, 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 and then go whoop through.
Right, but yeah, in short, we're going to start heading towards Southgate.
Yeah.
Yes. Summarized,
Continue-
we're going to Southgate.
continue to Southgate.
first.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And
So
we're avoiding the dodgy religious freaks because
dodgy
Hicks would probably
religious-
say, "Can we avoid them, please?"
And Yuri
Well,
would
he wouldn't
go,
say
yes.
please. He would just be like, we need to avoid them.
And Yuri would go, yes, they are annoying.
Fang has no objections.
She's just like, my two friends said, can we avoid them? Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
While they're casually walking along, because Yuri did promise Fang, Yuri would basically, if Fang was up for it, start the the interchange of language thingy.
Ooh.
To put some time towards learning, because basically Yuri offered to learn Fang's language, so Fang doesn't always feel they have to communicate a language they find it hard to talk in. Which I know there's like a whole table for, and like statistics on how long you need to do that. But yeah, Yuri would start that.
We're beginning the process, and again, this game is filled with actual travel downtime. In the way that I really like. I personally, as your GM for this particular group, really like the conversational stuff you fill the time with. To be like, all right, well, this is like a camp scene, or this is a travel scene, and B. It means that things don't all. It means that you aren't level 10 and it's been like 2 weeks, kind of thing. Where it's like, oh my god, so much growth in such a short period of time.
Yeah, and then the characters don't know each other at all, and it's really awkward.
Yeah, it lets you kind of hand wave. It's like, oh no, these characters have been traveling together for, like honestly, back and forth between Southgate from the start of the campaign and when you eventually get to the zone of Southgate, solid almost 2 weeks of time will have passed. In like 11, 12 days and everything, because it took you 4 or 5. You were in Southgate for a couple days. It took you several days to get down there. Then you had a really bad day at the Synod, and then it will take you several days back. So maybe like 10 days, but like
just under 2 weeks, really.
Yeah, just under 2 weeks. And then getting from Southgate to the capital, if you go via the road, that's going to take at least another like 5-7 days of traveling, and that's assuming you don't stop and dally in any of the locations on the map.
Which we will, so that's probably going to be another 10 days.
So like, yeah, this is how you build. This is how you build journeying. This is how you actually Lord of the Rings. But nonetheless, I am, however, because we are coming close to the 3 p.m. hour my time, and I do have kind of a hard stop.
Yep.
It's not a convenient, like, it's not a cool cliffhanger or like a shocking closure moment, but you did solve.
Having a nice walk.
Just having a nice walk, just fucking traveling along. You do successfully travel your first full half day, and this was the encounter of the day for this one, so you'll be able to get to camp at night and everything like that. But you are on your way back from Southgate with better like your magic items and everything. And so here is where I'm going to end this episode, and then you and I are going to, off recording, do a little bit of magic item placement. So for everyone else, we'll be back next week, maybe in live stream, maybe just here in YouTube. But for now, thank you for listening to this, and thank you, my wonderful players, for having a pretty just like hanging out and talking and learning stuff kind of a session. You all have a good rest of your day. Thanks for watching. Bye.